Well, I've never been more convinced than I am right now. This is a scam. The whole thing's a scam. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. If you like Fed slop, if you like alternating, changing testimony, if you like hidden stuff, you've come to the right place. And by that, I mean the People versus Tyler Robinson in Utah County Circuit Court, District Court, whatever they call it there in Utah County. It is bad, ladies and gentlemen. We have a long show lined up for you tonight, a very long show. It is so difficult when you're covering stuff in real time to filter out what is nonsense, what is noise from the signal, right? We need this. We need the signal. We got to filter the noise out. There was so much noise today, but we were able to filter it out for you. I think we have a really good show lined up for you yesterday. I will cover a couple of things from yesterday that a general correction I need to make that I got wrong on X, point out why I got it wrong, but I'm always the first to admit when I get something wrong. And then dive into today's testimony, which is, I think, pretty damning, not for Tyler Robinson, but for the state. It's bad. It looks bad. There's no reason whatsoever. There's no reason whatsoever that the state of Utah County, needs to be fiddling with evidence. It's just nonsense. It's nonsense. It goes directly in the face of absolutely everything we know about the American justice system. You know, when we think the American justice system, you think, well, I'm sure glad I live in the United States of America. Now, for you foreigners tuning in, I apologize. This is a little jingoistic here. You're going to have a jingoistic opening here. Sorry, guys. Don't take it personally. Maybe work with your home countries to get something more akin to what we strive to be here in these United States. But when we think about the American justice system, we like to believe that, hey, I don't want to hang out in North Korea. Why? Because if I get picked up by the police, I'm not going to get a fair trial. I'm just going to get a show trial. We've seen these in the news over the years. We've seen, there was a guy in North Korea. I can't remember his name. He ripped a poster down or something off a wall in a North Korean diner or something. I can't remember the exact, maybe a hotel room or something. He's going to keep it for himself. And they gave him a show trial. There's no fair process, manufactured evidence, and they absolutely destroyed this kid's life. It happened to a young man in Singapore years ago who was accused of, I think, spitting gum on the sidewalk or something. It was just manufactured evidence in a total show trial. And it happens all the time. And we remember reading about it in history behind the Iron Curtain in Eastern Europe and in the Soviet Union. We would hear about these show trials where the state would just come in and manufacture evidence, and there's really nothing you could do about it. In the United States, we like to believe that our system gives fairness to the defendant, that there's some sort of honesty and transparency that prevent the state from presenting misleading evidence or incomplete evidence or fabricated evidence or evidence that's been clipped and spliced together to make it look like you did something you didn't do. Our system should protect the accused from a wrongful conviction. It should uphold the fundamental right to a fair trial based on credible proof, honest, credible proof. They shouldn't be playing funny business with it. They shouldn't be hiding anything from the defense. We've talked about this presumption of innocence, that the state has this burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, that's obviously not the standard at a preliminary hearing, but that everything's building to trial. They tell you in trial advocacy classes, you're always closing. You're always building to closing. ABC, you're always building to closing. And when the state's playing funny business with the evidence, it robs the criminal defendant of that presumption of guilty because they're doing it in a preliminary hearing, in my opinion. And it's robbing the judge of being able to make a fair decision. Has the state met their burden of proof to send this thing to trial in the first place? Keep in mind, they're holding Tyler Robinson against his will. It's not like they've given him the opportunity to go home and wait on his trial date. If you go knock over a liquor store, they'll send you home, pay $10,000 bail and you out. And if it takes a couple of years, whatever, and then you go to trial. And if you're guilty, you do your time. And if not, you go back home. Tyler Robinson doesn't have that benefit. But there's also the public faith in the judicial process. I remember one trial I was involved in particular. I don't know if I've ever told this story on air. It's probably my proudest moment in a courtroom. It was a military trial. I think it was at Fort Bragg, if I remember. I don't remember exactly where I was. But I used to do military trials, and I was at some military base on the East Coast. I think it was Fort Bragg. But there was a young guy there, and he had been charged with something, and whether or not he did it's irrelevant for this story. But the state was the government, the military, was trying to bring in a witness outside of the bounds of permissibility. The UCMJ prescribes a rule of evidence that says that witnesses have to be disclosed so many days. I think it was 7 days or 14 days before trial. I can't remember the exact timeline, but they didn't disclose this witness. And the judge was going to let the witness in. He thought, harmless enough. It was a documents witness. It was a records custodian. And I threw a fit, man. I stood up and we took a recess, and it was like a 2-hour recess for the judge to think about it. And he came back. He said, all right, summarize your arguments and take 5-10 minutes, summarize your arguments. And I really didn't have much other than just appeal to his patriotism. And I just said, Your Honor, this young man is being judged by a jury of his peers. And in the military, that's quite true, because there are unit members on there. There are people of your rank on there. This guy's being judged by a jury of his peers. The panel has fellow service members on it. In addition, his family is sitting out here in the courtroom. His unit members are sitting out here in the courtroom. There's media present. Whether he's innocent or guilty is totally irrelevant. But when the president of the United States, the commander-in-chief, says we will use the UCMJ to adjudicate crimes in this country against service members, and if you think about it, it's really weird that the United States military has a separate judicial system. You would think they would just be subject to the local county or the local federal jurisdiction. They're not. This is not a civil trial. It's a criminal trial inside a military structure. It's very strange. But if the president of the United States says, these are the rules we're going to follow, the UCMJ, and I think it was President Obama at the time, and I think I called him by name. President Obama has said, these are the rules we will follow. And as long as we follow these rules, Your Honor, everyone in the courtroom, whether they disagree with the verdict or not, at least goes home and says it was fair. At least they go home and say it was fair, and that they know in the United States, they got fairness. They might disagree with the decision of the panel, but they got fairness. And he sided with me. He did not let that witness come in. And we ended up winning that case. And it is a testament to what can happen when a judge holds the government, holds the state, in this situation of Tyler Robinson, to the highest standard possible. You're not going to come in here and fiddle with stuff. We're not going to do things behind the scenes. It gives public confidence in the outcome. Whether or not you agree with it, you at least determined it was fairly decided. And it gives legitimacy to the government itself. This is a government of, by, and for the people here in the United States, in theory. We elect our government. That government that's elected either is an elected judge or elected prosecutor, or they're appointed by the governor who was elected. Somebody elected somebody, and that's the reason these people are in charge in the courtroom. And if you want the state to have legitimacy, you have to follow the rules. You have to hold everybody to the highest standard, or society begins to break down. Civilization begins to break down. When you feel like you could be deprived of your life in this case, and the death penalty, in a system that wasn't held to the highest standard. So there's this systemic erosion that's at risk. But you also have this appellate process, not just the trial court. Once a guilty verdict is rendered, that's really just the beginning. You've got an appellate by right. You've got a right to at least a single appeal. Then the Supreme Court of your state could take your appeal. If they deny it, you could go up the federal habeas system. I mean, there's a lot of ways to appeal your case. And the integrity of that appeal relies on a clean record. You have to have a clean, honest record of evidence. But it is the moral and societal foundation. Our criminal justice system is the moral and societal foundation. And it's why when I'm watching things and I'm getting on X and people say, hey, did you see what they did with that evidence? That didn't look right. It's shocking. It's shocking. And we're going to go through some of that tonight. Because frankly, as I sit here today, I did not come on the air yesterday. I probably should have. But I had a lot going on. I had a whole lot going on yesterday. Had a funeral in the morning for our friend Jeff Armstrong, who passed away. Many of you have been praying for Jeff. Many of you donated to his family's GoFundMe, and I appreciate that. There was a lot of talk about that yesterday at the funeral and then the event that followed. It was not the event of the century. It was a beautiful funeral. And it was a beautiful dinner afterwards. Everybody just got together and told stories about Jeff. It was beautiful. It was great. But I just had too much going on. Could not do a show yesterday, but I did keep up with the testimony. And last night I spent well into the early mornings, 2 a.m. last night, catching up on what happened at the trial yesterday. So I am going to talk a little bit today about what happened yesterday, because there were a couple things that popped out that were just shocking. frankly, so shocking that every single observer, whether they believe Tyler Robinson solely planned and executed Charlie Kirk or not, every single one of those people should have been in awe yesterday and horrified, disgusted. And I didn't see enough of it. I saw people who were more concerned about outcome determinative justice, meaning as long as the outcome is what I think the outcome should be, I don't care how we get there. That's nonsense. I learned about outcome determinative justice by doing an internship with a Supreme Court Chief Justice. Hang on just a second. Hey, I'm on the air and will be for the next several hours. I'll call you back if you're down from 9. We'll talk tomorrow. All right. What? The principal. Sorry about that. All right. But I learned about outcome determinative justice because there was a case. Well, I probably shouldn't even tell this story. I'm not going to tell this story. But that's where I learned that phrase, and it was not in a flattering way to the justice I was interning for. But anyway, I say all this to say, as we go through this evidence, I want you to ask yourself, is this a fair process? Is this a fair process? Because if the answer to that question is no, you should be horrified. You should be disgusted. You should be absolutely disgusted. But I do want to clear up a few things, because in the past, we have stated time and time again that Tyler Robinson was seen on campus by a police officer around 6:30 p.m. I'll show you that original article now. Wrong button. I'll show you that original article now. This says right here, this was a Fox News article. This is why we've been reporting this. It happened around 6:30 p.m. on September 10th, roughly 6 hours after a sniper's round struck Kirk in the neck as he was engaging the audience. The officer guarding the perimeter after authorities placed campus on lockdown. The encounter appears to have thwarted the suspect's attempt to recover the Mauser. Okay, so that's why we reported that. We report things based on the evidence that's in front of us. And then we ask the question, how could he be there at 6:30 and then in Panguitch at 8:45? Because that timeline doesn't add up. So what's going on here? Well, we now know because that was clarified in court. What actually happened, I'll show you the footage of it. This happened yesterday, is Tyler Robinson's vehicle was spotted on campus around 12:30 p.m. Here is how that played out yesterday.
Would have been just off center on the top left side.
What do we see now?
This is the intersection of Campus Drive and 800 South. There's a vehicle attempting to turn right onto Campus Drive. That's the vehicle that's driven by Mr. Robinson.
And on the screen, where is that vehicle that you're referring to located? If you broke it into quadrants.
It's on the left side, on the upper side, the upper quadrant.
And then he goes forward. And the officer goes on to say that there was a contact. There's a purported alleged contact. Now, of course, it's hearsay. We did not hear from the officer who made contact with Tyler Robinson. This is coming in. It's being reported as the truth of the matter asserted, as if a police officer did, in fact, make contact with Tyler Robinson. Of course, we know, you guys should all know by now, in an actual courtroom, not a kangaroo court like what's going on in Utah right now, but in an actual courtroom, and at trial, they would not be able to introduce this evidence as evidence that Tyler Robinson made contact with a police officer at 12:30 p.m. But the reason I think it said 6:30 is if you'll notice the bottom of the screen there, it's 6:36 Zulu time, standard time, not standard time, universal time. And if you go to Mountain Daylight Time, which is what they were on at the time, that's a 6-hour difference. So 06:36 Zulu time would be 12:36 Mountain Daylight Time. I'm sure that's the source of the confusion. But the source of the confusion made its way into a Fox News article. Now, I question who sourced that Fox News article, because it was someone who had seen this footage. In my opinion, because I don't know how else you make that mistake. So why are sources in law enforcement leaking out details to the media? That's a different discussion. But that's why we said that. That's why we did that. So were we wrong? Probably. It doesn't sound like he made contact with a police officer at 6:30 p.m. It sounds like he made contact with a police officer at 6:30 a.m. Zulu time, which is 12:30 a.m. Utah time at this time of year. But you can see them. Kind of get ready to turn right and then go straight. And allegedly, there was a police contact that took place in there. But we know where he was headed, purportedly. If that was indeed Tyler Robinson, we know where he was purported to be headed. Why? Because we have a search warrant. And on the search warrant, it gives us a time of where he was approximately 11 minutes later. Here is what it says. Orem contacted police and advised that he had captured video on his Nest doorbell camera, a Dodge Challenger parked across the street from his home. The vehicle initially parked at approximately 12:47 hours. That should not be 12:47 hours on September 11th. That should be 00:47 hours. That was a typo, I'm sure. On September 11th, which would put it at 12:47 a.m., which would put it 11 minutes after that video we just watched, and left at approximately 01:35. So it was there roughly 38 minutes, give or take, maybe 48 minutes. Maybe my math sucks. Regardless, it was there, half hour, 45 minutes, something like that. Well, I think they told us today or yesterday with hearsay testimony, not body cam footage from the cop who did the interaction with him, not the cop's testimony that interacted with him, but another guy who says a guy told me this is what happened. He was told it was Tyler Robinson in the car. Now, he didn't say there were other people in the car, but he said it was Tyler Robinson in the car. But 11 minutes later, we have this Nest doorbell footage, Nest camera footage from a guy named Noble. And Noble's wife filled out a statement and said, hey, it wasn't Tyler Robinson alone in the car. In fact, it was a bald man driving the car. A bald man driving the car. Tyler Robinson's not bald, he has hair. So who was driving the car? But she goes on, there's more. She says it's not just a bald guy driving, because then you could say, well, maybe she just doesn't understand Tyler's hairline. Maybe it was dark. Maybe it was blurry. I want you to listen to what this woman said in writing about who was in that car that pulled up at 12:47 a.m.
I remember reading the report at some point, yes.
And do you remember that the Nobles told you that the driver of the vehicle was bald?
I do remember that being in the report, yes.
And you didn't mention that today when you were talking about that Ring camera, did you?
I did not.
Yeah, didn't mention that. Didn't mention that. While we were trying to make it look like Tyler Robinson is guilty of the crime and get this to go to trial so we can put him to death, we didn't mention that the person who captured the camera footage said the driver was bald. We forgot that part. Well, we didn't forget. We strategically left it out. It's exculpatory evidence we did not want the judge to know about. We didn't want the public to know about it. We don't need Candace Owens and Baron Coleman and Diligent Denizen and Sam Parker. We don't need all these people, Zach Costello, going on air and saying, wait a minute, Tyler's not bald? Were we sure that was Tyler? Well, what else did he say about it that they tried to hide from you?
And did they also tell you there were 3 other people in the car?
Yes, I believe they thought that was the case.
Yeah. So this car that we were told was driven by Tyler Robinson, and we were told this whole time Tyler Robinson planned and executed this entirely alone. We now know that at least in the minds of the lady who recorded the footage, that it was driven by a bald guy with 3 people in the car. Well, what does the video look like? I have cameras over every blade of grass in my house. They record at night. They record during the day. Let's see what this looks like and tell me, do your cameras look this crappy? Because I'm going to raise a question here at the end of this. Just tell me, do your cameras look this bad when they record?
Play the video.
Why all the cuts? Why all the cuts? Why? If you're being honest, why did we cut between when one person got back to the car and when the car drove off? Did you see a human being in any of this footage? Did you notice there were strategic cuts to keep you from knowing everything that happened on camera? This is not the only time they've done this. We'll point out others today. This is not the only time they have strategically cut footage to stop you from knowing what was going on that footage. I'm going to show you a few more, and it's going to be shocking. It's going to be absolutely shocking by the time we're done with this. That's not honest. I think that footage we just watched was intentionally downgraded in quality. I've never seen Nest footage look so terrible. Nest footage is good footage. I mean, I would have been able to tell what kind of belt buckle he had on outside my house. You can't even tell if it's a human. Once again, we're told, oh, that's Tyler Robinson. Oh, yeah? How do we know that's not a space alien? I can't tell the difference. How do we know that's not a woman or a fat man or a heavy set, whatever the officer said Monday? How do we know? And how do we know it's one guy alone? And how do we know he had hair? And the reason I asked the question, and the reason I think it might have been intentionally downgraded, is because you can't see anything on that. But Miss Noble signed a statement saying that it was a bald man with 3 passengers, which means she was able to determine when she looked at it what was on there, or at least she thought she was. Who's Miss Nobles? Does she look like a lying liar from Liarville? I don't think so. I'll show you a little bio here. She seems pretty normal to me. This is Ms. Noble, Cinzia Donatelli Noble, born in Italy, did a mission for her church, came to the United States, got a PhD, graduated cum laude, actually cum laude though, not just say it on LinkedIn. Began her career teaching at BYU. She was recognized as outstanding teacher twice, teacher of the year, or outstanding teacher once, and teacher of the year another time. Held various church callings, young women president, counselor, primary teacher, gospel doctrine teacher, Sunday school secretary and teacher. Does she strike you as someone who would accidentally see 4 people in a video by mistake? Does she strike you as someone who would lie about it if she thought, I mean, they weren't going to tell you that she said that. That came out on cross, not direct. Meaning the state was well aware this woman had said that. Well aware that she said that. Well aware there was a document that said that. So was the cop. So was the cop. You heard him answer. Yes, I was aware that she said that. Bro, then why didn't you tell us? Why didn't you tell us? That does not give me faith in the American judicial system. It does not give me faith in the government in Utah County. It doesn't give me faith in law enforcement, the FBI. It doesn't give me faith in the Attorney General's office there. It doesn't give me faith in the police department there. It gives me faith in nobody. When you are hiding, now you could come back and say, well, we disagree with her. We've watched this footage and we don't see 4 people. Okay. That goes to weight. I think we should have heard her statement. And I'm hopeful the defense is going to bring her to trial and hear what she has to say. Because I think it's pretty damning if she's accurate. Because no longer do we have Tyler Robinson showing up at 12:47 a.m. to retrieve a rifle alone. No, we got a car full of homies and a bald guy. Take a guess later who the bald guy might have been. Some of you might have already thought of it. But I thought that was a particularly egregious example of dishonesty. Now, another mistake I have to clarify, and why it is we have to clarify it. Yesterday on X, after listening to trial testimony, I was a little outraged because I heard someone, and I'll play it for you, you'll hear it too, say that 95% of the DNA, it sounds like, came from Lance Twiggs on one of the items. It was pretty shocking. There were a lot of problems with the DNA testimony, but this was perhaps overly shocking.
Is considered reliable hearsay. In addition, credibility determinations are not proper for the court to make here, for the whole reason that, studies supporting this science, studies opposing this science, testimony from this expert or that expert about what is reliable, what is not, what's more reliable, what's less reliable, factors that affect all those determinations. Those are all very, very complex decisions. There will be probably multiple day hearings dealing with that. And a probable cause determination is just not the place to conduct that kind of thorough, in-depth, and searching analysis. Rather, the case law, the Constitution of Utah that says the only purpose of a preliminary hearing is determining probable cause, the case law, the rules that all say the court does not weigh the evidence at this stage, but leaves that for a finder of fact, the jury in the end. That all supports cutting this line of questioning off at this point rather than going on for into greater depth, Your Honor.
All right. So based off what's been presented before me, I'm going to sustain in part and deny in part the objection made. I'm going to allow this question to be asked, and so that is denying, but sustain in the sense that this would be the last question, and if Mr. Burt would chooses to, may go on to a different subject or a different line of questioning.
Sure. Did that NIST report conclude that it remains unclear if visual inspection renders consistent number of contributor estimations across analysts over time?
Can you repeat that?
Yeah. Did the report, the NIST report that you referenced, conclude?
I may have the wrong clip. Let me read. Here was the original. I think that's the wrong clip, but here is the original statement that I heard. She said, quote, "When I compared Mr. Robinson conditioning on Mr. Twiggs, it was 5 to 95%. I heard that as Mr. Robinson to Mr. Twiggs, 5% to 95%. And so I concluded it was 95% Mr. Twiggs. She clarified that 3 hours later. Hours later, it was clarified that it was actually the opposite of that. And that's fair. I'm fine with that. And I'm fine issuing the correction. I have no problem if I misinterpret a document or a statement or testimony. But I want you to know my thinking. It was not just like, oh my gosh, we're just wrong. No, it was the part I heard, and I had a lot going on yesterday, but the part I heard, she said, Robinson to Twiggs, 5% to 95%. I had no idea she was flipping those in the middle for some reason. Now, so that clarifies a couple of issues from yesterday. I want to switch out of the testimony to something else that happened yesterday. I want to switch out of the testimony to something else that happened yesterday. Candace Owens noted that Ben Shapiro made a comment on his podcast, and it sounded like, let me pull it up. It's just 22-second clip. And this is fair use, people. This is what it sounded like.
So I remember where I was when all this was happening. I was in Los Angeles. I had sort of a breakfast/lunch meeting with somebody. And I got the news that Charlie had been shot, and my security was on the phone with Charlie's security because nobody knew what the hell was going on. Well, Charlie was still in the back of the car, and we were sort of getting updates along the way. At 2:40.
A little shocking, if we're being honest, because what the hell was going on in the car? What the hell was going on in the car? Let's just set the scene of where everybody was. Rick Cutler supposedly is holding Brian Harpole. Remember, he has the tattoo. That's Brian Harpole's testimony. Brian Harpole is hanging out of the car because Charlie's too big and we can't close the door. And Rick Cutler is holding on to Brian Harpole for dear life while they go 60, 80, 100 miles an hour on the way to the hospital. He is holding on to him for dear life. So he is probably not on the phone with Ben Shapiro's security. Brian Harpole is working on Charlie, stuffing 36 feet of gauze into his neck and trying not to fall out of the car. Probably not on the phone with security. So that's 2 of the 5 people in the car. In the back seat of the car was Frank Turek. He told us his phone was on FaceTime that whole time. So he wasn't on the phone with Ben Shapiro's security. So that takes everybody from the passenger seats back the middle seat and the back seat, takes them out of the equation. They were not on the phone with Ben Shapiro's security. Dan Flood was in the front right of the car, the shotgun seat. He was the passenger. I'm told he was using his phone to navigate to the hospital. Turn left, go straight, I don't know. Sing it to Rachel, just go. I have no idea how he could be doing that and simultaneously calling Ben Shapiro's security from the car. And that's what Ben Shapiro just said. They were getting updates from the car as to what was going on. And then you have Justin, the driver. I'm hoping he's 10-2. He's got a guy hanging out of the back passenger door. He's got a dying or dead guy in the back seat. He's driving 60, 80, 100 miles an hour, breaking through intersections without a police escort. Hopefully he wasn't on the phone. This is a real problem. This is a real problem. Because if that story is true that we've been told, that all these people were doing all these things and only these things, and how could they be doing anything else other than these things? I mean, have you ever driven 100 miles an hour through city streets, breaking intersections with a dying guy in the back, and then you think, you know what I should do right now? There's a podcaster in Florida. I probably should call him and update him. Yeah. What? Somebody decided to call Ben Shapiro's team a podcaster and update them on what was going on in the immediate aftermath before we had even gotten Charlie Kirk to the hospital? That was Ben Shapiro's statement today. They were giving updates to my security team. Can we not get Charlie to a surgeon first? Can we not get him at least to the emergency department? Can we get him on a stretcher and into the operating room, and then we can start debriefing random podcasters? It makes you feel like Ben Shapiro might be more than a random podcaster. It makes you feel, honestly, if I'm being honest, it makes you feel like Ben Shapiro may have had a vested interest in what happened to Charlie Kirk. Remember, Andrew Colvette scheduled Ben Shapiro against Charlie's wishes for a podcast appearance with Charlie Kirk on September 9th, the day before he kicks off his tour, and 2 days after he got back from Japan and Korea. That makes it look like Andrew Colvette may have a vested interest in what happened to Charlie. Regardless, it's really, really bizarre. Really, really bizarre. Now, I'm going to get to the testimony today, but something else that happened last night that I cannot let go without passing mention. Boomer Blake. Blake Sneff Speed from TPU, apparently not from TPUSA, from the Charlie Kirk Show. Boomer Blake got on an X space last night, actually two of them. I listened to portions of it. It was not as interesting, I think, as Blake anticipated it would be. There was a lot of nonsense on it, frankly. But there were a few of the questioners who I felt like were in good faith asking a few decent questions and got some decent information out of it. I'll play a couple of small clips from it. For example, I had always wondered, where was Boomer Blake? Where was Blake Sneff when Charlie arrived in Salt Lake City? How did Blake get there? I had no idea. I'd never heard. Did Blake fly into UVU with one of the other groups? Did he, because there were several planes that flew directly into Provo. Was he on one of those planes? Did he fly in with Charlie and then drive down with Charlie and the team? I didn't know. I did not know. But now I do. At least I know what Blake said, and I will play a portion of this for you.
At the Savory Fund interview with Andrew Smith before he went to UVU.
So they're talking about the Savory Fund interview with Andrew Smith, I think is the name he said. The Savory Fund was the interview Charlie gave in Salt Lake City. That's why he flew to Salt Lake City instead of Provo.
Prior, I wasn't at that event. I was in the other SUV.
So where were you in between time? When you got off the plane, where did you go?
I was in the other SUV.
Did you go straight to UVU?
We had two SUVs. I was in the one Charlie wasn't in, and I was somewhere. I actually have no idea where they parked it.
I was somewhere. Well, but where, Blake? Did you go to the restaurant event behind Charlie? I mean, you were in the other SUV. Did you follow Charlie's SUV to the restaurant event and sit in the parking lot? I think I would have remembered that. Did you go on to Orem? I think I would have remembered that. I mean, did you drive 45?
What do you mean you don't know where you were?
I'd never been to Utah before. We had,
So you got off the plane with Charlie, you jumped in the other SUV. Where did you go?
we went somewhere. Why would I
You went somewhere.
why would I remember that? Like, can you consider for just one moment that I did not know
Well,
that Charlie was going to
Did you go straight to the UVU event?
around the Orem, Utah area? We went.
Surely you've been asked these questions by the authorities, right?
Why would I be asked the questions like that by the
Because
authorities?
you're a key witness to a murder.
No, I'm not. I'm 100.
Surely you can, hang on.
I was-
Surely you can remember what you did that morning.
I'm a key witness to Charlie's life. I'm not a particularly important witness to the murder.
So you got off the plane, you got
How
in
are
the
you not? They're a
SUV.
murder
Where
cop and
did
they're
you
in the
go?
crime scene.
Hang on, let me finish the question.
So let me offer a critique to the people asking the questions. I think they got good information out, but I'll offer a small critique here. Ask your question, let them finish their answer, and then if you have a follow-up question, ask the follow-up question. But don't talk over them. I mean, that's don't do that. I like Muppet. He's fine. He was one of the ones talking. I like Diligent a lot. He's fine. He was one of the ones talking. But if someone's kind enough to loan their time and you think you can get good information out of it, just ask. And then hear what they have to say and either accept the answer or ask a reasonable follow-up. Don't just accuse them of lying. I mean, that's not very effective. And don't interrupt them when they're trying to speak, because now I can't hear everything he said. But here's what I got out of that exchange. Blake Neff flew into Salt Lake City with Charlie Kirk. I know what time that flight landed. I have it right here. That flight landed at 15:27 Zulu time. That's 9:27 local time. 9:27. That's a very key time. You figure if you're flying private and you're getting in a car that's made available for you, you're looking 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes tops, getting from the plane to your car. I mean, the plane lands, it taxis up, it parks, the door comes down, you walk to your car. Right? It's not like you got to go in and wait on luggage. I mean, you're just there for the day. You don't have anything. You might have a laptop bag with you. And then you jump in the car that's sitting there waiting for you, and you begin to drive off. The interesting thing is Blake doesn't know where he went. He doesn't know whether he stayed in Salt Lake City. He doesn't know whether he followed Charlie to the restaurant event, stayed in the parking lot. He knows he didn't go into the event. He doesn't know if he went on to Orem, Utah. This is problematic. This is very problematic when you consider it's about a give or take less than an hour drive. Now, this is rush hour time right now. When I ran this morning at about the exact same time, it said it was about 45 minutes from end to end. Now it's saying 55 minutes from end to end. But we'll say it's well less than an hour to get from the Salt Lake City airport to Utah Valley University. So if he lands at 9:37, and let's give him 20 full minutes, 20 full minutes to get off the plane and into a car, he could have been at UVU's campus as early as 10:15, maybe as late as 10:30. But he couldn't have been there before 10:15. Physics won't allow it. We learned that Tyler Robinson, we learned this Monday, Tyler Robinson met with a TPUSA, Tyler Robinson met with a TPUSA representative that morning. That went largely without mention by most of the Fed sloppers. I think it's hugely important. How on earth do you not think that's important? This is the guy who supposedly, for over a week, or up to a week, have been planning to solely, by himself, plan and execute Charlie Kirk. He shows up on campus several hours ahead of time and mingles with the staff? Like shows up and mingles? No, friends, that's Fed slop. That tastes like Alpo. Good for dogs, bad for people. That's bad stuff. That's bad stuff. But when Blake was asked, which representative did he meet with, by the way? Because we're very curious. Do tell.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
This morning, the leading officer on the case, right, of the Utah SBI, right? He was giving the timeline of events. And during that timeline of events, the officer said that Tyler Robinson, in his shorts, the first time he went there around 10 a.m. in the morning, he climbed through the stairwell wearing his shorts. He didn't have the pants and the limp and all of that. And after he left the parking lot structure, he met with, and this is his words, okay, met with TPUSA representatives. Do you know who they are? Tyler Robinson on September the 10th?
And even if I did, I wouldn't tell you because you guys would just harass that person. And I know that that person didn't do anything.
Oh,
I know that person didn't do anything. How do you know that? Blake? How do you know that person didn't do anything? Well, the only way you could know that person didn't do anything is if you know who that person is. And he just said, I'm not going to tell you who it is. Even if I did know, I'm not going to tell you. Well, that kind of is conditional. Maybe he doesn't know. But then he says, I know that person didn't do anything, meaning I know who it was. They've been holding this the whole time. That indicates to me they were aware of this fact. And in their mountain of evidence that they kept recounting about the DNA on the rifle that Tyler owned, the DNA on the screwdriver that Tyler probably owned, the video footage of him taking the shot, which we're now learning doesn't really exist. Plain as day, seeing him jump off the roof, which could be anybody. I mean, the officer said he doesn't have any facial features he can identify, no clothing features he can identify. All this mountain of evidence, and you guys keep recounting this mountain of evidence over and over and over, and you know who he met with? You know that the alleged killer met with a TPUSA representative, or representatives plural? And you've been holding this back the whole time. You could have said, well, you know, we actually did talk to the guy, strangely enough. No, that's Fed slop. That is Fed slop. I'm sorry, Blake. That made you look so bad. I hope you do more spaces. I hope this becomes a thing. I hope this is what you do. This is what you do. Now, we have a graphic here that let me go back and give the credit to the person who put it together. I don't know who this was. Someone named Brandy Churchwell. I'm sure she's fine. But I'll throw her thing up here just to give her the full credit. But I think she put this together. But this is the graphic here. And I want to roll through it because this is kind of the Fed slop graphic. 8:29 a.m. A car matching Tyler's arrives on campus. The suspect is wearing maroon t-shirt, shorts, hat, and gray sneakers. That's on the right, supposed to be Tyler Robinson. Of course, you can't see his face. You can only see kind of a side profile, and it's grainy and distant. You see his car here, but you never get a clean look at the license plate. We're not able to determine if that's even his car. Just when the agent was questioned about it, he said it was consistent with the description of the car. Then they said at 8:44 a.m. he exited the parking deck. We will examine in a minute if that's true. We'll examine in a minute if that's true. 9:24 a.m. goes back downstairs in the parking garage towards the car. 9:25 returns to his car. 9:29 pulls out of the spot and heads towards the parking deck. Exit. 9:33 pulls out of the parking deck and then returns. Notice this timeline of the return, because I think this second trip is when he made contact with TPUSA representatives. He returns on foot. Well, why return unless you weren't able to accomplish your objectives the first time? Because what it looks like to me is he showed up at 8:29, did not accomplish what he intended to by 9:33, and so he had to come back. And came back on campus at 10:09. Returns on foot in the same clothing, carrying the same blue book bag. Enters campus through the same parking deck. Exits the parking deck, goes to Chick-fil-A on campus and eats lunch. Exits before 11 a.m., believed he went into the wooded area alongside the northeast side of Campus Drive. It's a very interesting timeline because it raises a couple of issues. Who did he, do we have video footage of him eating Chick-fil-A on campus? Was he alone? Obviously, the officer said he made contact with TPUSA representatives. That leads me to believe it's on camera. Where's that footage? Why can't we see that footage? I think that's absolutely critical. It could be exculpatory. It could go towards the fact that probable cause is not met here, and they're not showing it to us. and then supposedly exits just before 11 o'clock. So he was on campus again for about 50 or 51 minutes. And then he goes into the wooded area on the northeast side of Campus Drive. Well, what was he doing over there? What was he doing over there? You know, scouting. I have no idea. Doesn't make sense to me. And then we'll talk about this rest of this when the time arrives. But that presents a pretty decent Fed slop timeline. And so we now have looking for. Here is the arrival on campus. This is what it looked like in courtroom footage. This is the arrival on campus. Notice the timestamp up here in the top left, 8:29 a.m. 8:29 a.m.
Judge, thank you. Okay, what are we seeing here, Agent Hall?
That's the vehicle that is believed to belong to Mr. Robinson arriving in the parking garage on campus.
At what time in the morning? What time of the day?
It's approximately 8:30 in the morning on September 10th, 2025.
And what leads you to believe this particular vehicle belongs to Mr. Robinson?
Information that was provided regards to driver's license and Department of Motor Vehicle records. The vehicle fits the description of a vehicle owned by Mr. Robinson.
Is there anything unique about that vehicle that stands out to you?
So I'm going to come back to this footage in a second, but I want to clarify something. The timestamp on this frame is very difficult to see. I employed help and was able to determine that this timestamp is consistent with that 8:30-ish a.m. arrival. So you had him pull in at 8:29. This right here is 8:30 something, 8:30, 8:31, something like that. He pulls into his parking spot there. I'm going to let it roll, and we're going to notice something about the timestamp.
The shape of the vehicle is very distinct, but predominantly the wheels were very distinctive on this version of the vehicle.
Now what do we see?
The driver of the vehicle exits the vehicle and then walks on foot to exit the parking garage. It's the individual in the red T-shirt and the shorts and the shoes.
And do you believe you recognize who that person is?
Yes.
Who is that?
That's the cleanest image I could get to stop there on whether or not that's Tyler Robinson. You'd have to zoom in and make that determination yourself. But there's something that's interesting about it because now that he's walking down this, that time we believe says 9:24 a.m. 9:24 a.m. So if he pulls in the parking deck at 8:29 and he walks this way at 9:24, and I've got where he turns the corner here and heads to the stairwell, you can see the timestamp in the top left side of the screen here. If you've got good footage here, it also says 9:24. Raises an issue. What was he doing between 8:29 and 9:24? That's a nearly hour difference. That's 55 minutes that he's unaccounted for. That's 55 minutes that we cannot see him. We cannot see his car. We don't have a 55-minute video that's been released to see if anybody walked up to the car. Did he leave the car and go back to the... We have no idea what happened. But if he's there working alone, if Tyler Robinson solely planned and executed Charlie Kirk, and he's there working alone, why does he drive to the campus at 8:29 and roll into the parking deck if he's not going to walk down the stairs until 9:24?
Does he go from there?
He heads out of the parking garage on foot into the campus.
Notice he has his phone in his left hand. I want to back it up just a second, too. Notice which foot he steps off the stairs with.
He heads out of the parking garage on foot.
He steps off the stair with his right foot. He holds his phone in his left hand.
To the campus and actually goes to the quad
and puts the phone in his left pocket.
Area of the campus. At that time, he makes contact with some representatives from TPUSA.
Now, I'm a right-handed American. I hold my phone with my right hand or my left, as I'm looking at it. I hold it with the same hand every time. I also put my phone in my left pocket every time. It doesn't matter what pants I have on. If I have a swimsuit on, if I have athletic shorts, if I have jeans, if I have a suit, always the left pocket. Every single time. I called all of my children and I had them run to the top of the stairs and spin around in circles, walk down to the end of the hallway. And then I said, all right, come back downstairs. Every single one of them took the first step with their left foot. He took his first step with his right foot. And he puts his phone into his left pocket. Just log that away. Just log that away in the back of your mind as we continue looking through the evidence here. Left pocket. Holds left hand, left pocket. Yes. I have a left-handed person here helping me on the back end who says, first step right for me, back right pocket for phone. My right-handed children took their first step with their left foot, and your humble host, who's right-handed, took his first step down the stairs with his left foot. Now we have the footage of Tyler Robinson exiting the vehicle, entering the stairwell, leaves campus around 9:30. Then we have the 9:33 a.m. image of his car leaving the parking garage. Let me back that up just a smidge. There we go. I want you to notice something about the car as it leaves the parking garage. This is interesting little tidbit. This car leaves the parking garage. I'm going to pause it there. I'm going to roll it forward a little bit, pause it there. Roll it forward a little bit, pause it there. Roll it forward a little bit, pause it there. That car is leaving the parking garage, 9:33 a.m. He walked down the stairs at 9:24 to enter campus, according to the officer. Now he's back. He's back. Coming back down the stairs here. That time he went left-footed down. So he takes his first step with a different foot there. This is 10:09 a.m. Coming through the hallway here. I'm not convinced that's the same person. I'm not at all convinced that's the same person. Here he is coming up the stairs. Turns the corner here. And there he is at 10:10 walking out of the structure there. So you have a guy who arrives on campus at 8:29, sits in his car, according to the cop, sits in his car till 9:24. Walks out on campus, out there for a minute or two. How long can he be there? He has to get back to his car and drive away at 9:30. So how long could he have possibly been out in the campus area? And then he drives his car somewhere. We actually pick up a Dodge Challenger on a Ring camera somewhere else. And then we have him walking back in just a short period of time later. And that's when he went to eat Chick-fil-A on campus. And we believe that's when he made contact with somebody from TPUSA. Now, he comes back on campus later. It's 11:53 a.m. And we're told this should be unedited footage. If it's edited, they should have told us. Luckily, the online sleuths picked up on it. Here is your footage. Notice the timestamp in the top left, 11:53:12. Don't watch Tyler Robinson on this first rundown. Look only at this shadow over here on the right. Don't watch anything else. We'll watch this a couple of times, so don't feel like you need to watch Tyler Robinson right now. Just watch the shadow. Just watch the shadow. Did you see it? Did you see the shadow jump all at once? Shadows don't do that. That's not how shadows move. So why does the shadow move? Why does the shadow move? Now notice this car. Now look only at this white car in the background. Just the white car. Watch it go. It goes, it goes, it goes, it goes. Oh, it disappears. It entered a wormhole, ladies and gentlemen. The white car entered a wormhole. It goes, it goes, it goes. Oh, it's gone. Now, only look at Tyler Robinson. What is Tyler Robinson doing while he's waiting here? And there's an obvious jump cut. We'll look at the timestamp in just a second, but just now look only at Tyler Robinson. What is he doing He's playing with his phone. With his right hand this time. Playing with his phone with his right hand this time. Now go to the timestamp in the upper left. It's 11:53 and 12 seconds. 11:53:14, 11:53:15, 16, 17. Oh, 11:54:33. Oh, we lost a minute 16. We lost a minute 16. Why? Why did we lose a minute 16? This guy's on trial for his life. We're trying to figure out if there's probable cause that he solely planned and executed Charlie Kirk, as we're told he did. Why are we clipping videos and putting them out and not telling everyone they're clipped? And why are we clipping them? If it's so important that we see him walk up to the stairs and walk down the stairs, it's only a minute 16, guys. Play the whole clip. What's on the clip? I feel a little like Brad Pitt. What's in the box? What's in the box? I can only think of two things that happened that they don't want us to see. One, he made a phone call. And they didn't want us to see he made a phone call. Because that would be problematic. Who's he calling? He's entering campus to take a man's life. Who's he calling? Is he ordering a pizza? Is he making sure the Quick Quack is open so he can get his car shined up after the big event? Is he making reservations at the Penguin Steakhouse for later? Well, who's he calling? So that's option one. Option two is that a car rolled up and talked to him. We know it looks like it happened on the way into campus. Remember, he was limping down the hill? And it looked like a car pulled over on the side of the road, slowed down, apparently made some kind of contact, and then turned back into the lane of traffic and drove on. Very interesting behavior if there was no contact made, surely. But what we see is this entire time he is on the phone. He's constantly piddling on the phone. Tick, 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 tick. Constantly piddling on the phone. And the phone happens to change hands. The phone he uses, sometimes he uses it with his right hand, sometimes he uses it with his left hand. It's a little weird to me. I don't know anyone else that does that. Do you remember when they tried to sell us that Jeffrey E.P. Stein took his own life? And they're like, okay, fine, we'll release the footage. Fine, we'll show you the footage. We'll show you nobody entered that area. And then people are like, wait a minute, there's 3 minutes missing. 3 minutes missing from the footage. Where's the 3 minutes? Oh, that's just something that happens. No, that's not something that happens. A lot of us have security cameras. I think almost everybody has security cameras these days. That's not something that happens. That never happens. And if it did happen, you should tell us and provide us some other angle where it didn't happen. But they can't. It's just missing. It's just gone. Just something that happens. Cameras shut down for 3 minutes. Oh, and those other cameras, they didn't work. We had other cameras that could have shown you what happened in those 3 minutes, but they dadgum cameras. You know how technology is. Did you turn it off and turn it back on? This man is facing a death sentence. There's a lot going on in this case that's very shady, that does not appear like a man planned and executed this solely by himself. So now let's see it from this compilation they put together, because it's out of order. The first cut runs from 11:56:06 to 11:56:24, and then it's cut. Then we see a second cut from 11:56:25 to 11:56:59. So that's, for some reason, there's a cut there, but it cuts, I think, because he turns a corner. But we have basically 53 minutes in order. And then there's a third cut. And if you look at the timestamp, it's actually before the first two. It's from 11:56:01 to 04. So let's watch this. It's out of order. Again, the man is on trial for his life. We should not be cutting stuff out of order to make it look like he's doing something he's not doing. But here it is.
Same person.
He's noticeably wearing different clothing.
He is wearing different clothing, and he also is walking with a gait or a limp in this video.
With the gait or what?
Limp.
So now we switch to the second one. This is going from
This is
26.
Mr. Robinson coming up the stairs of the parking structure. Again, he seems to be having issues walking.
And now we're going to get a third cut here in just a second.
And again, we're able to track, we're able to track Mr. Robinson when he leaves this parking structure.
Yes, we were able to.
And the third cut goes back before the other two to make it look like I had no idea why you would do that. Again, if it's just total incompetence, just admit you don't know what you're doing. You don't know how to cut video footage. But if it's worse than incompetence, we've got a real problem on our hands. A real problem on our hands. Now, do you remember what I told you, the pocket that he put his phone in? I'll replay it for you here. You'll be able to see both of these. I give the person credit who found this. M found this. Not the letter M, E-M. M mini 1111111. Now, let me show you what it shows.
And why, well, let me ask you this. You believe this is Mr. Robinson returning to campus?
I do, yes.
Okay. And why do you believe it's Mr. Robinson?
The shoes are the same. And
Right hand, right pocket. Right hand, right pocket. He's wearing jeans. So it's not like he's wearing a swimsuit in one and jeans in another. Doesn't have a business suit on in either. Wearing jeans. Oh, I accidentally closed it out. Let me pull it back up. Right hand, right pocket on that one. Now let's go to him in jeans in the holding area in Washington County.
That's Tyler Robinson.
And although we are watching it on video, what?
Left hand, left pocket. For me, that's a big deal. I've never carried a phone in my right pocket since I got my Nokia back in 1998. I've never carried a phone in my right pocket, ever. My left jeans always get a worn spot where my phone sits. My right pocket is pristine. Pristine. I don't know about women, but I can tell you men, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Is it the same person? Are we dealing with the same person? Because we can't see faces in any of these images. Even in the holding cell, where you think for sure, they're trying to identify that this is the same person. Even in the holding cell, we don't get his face. That's a little weird. Now I ask you, how many dadgum backpacks did this guy have on campus that day? Because when he shows up, this is from Alley Top Files, when he shows up in his maroon shirt, looking very much not like Tyler Robinson. When he shows up in his maroon shirt, he's got a navy blue backpack with a little logo here towards the top. And when he shows up in his black outfit, he has a black backpack that is fundamentally different. Those are two different backpacks. This does not have a little white thing at the top. This one has a little white thing at the top. This one has a different logo here that's broken up. I'm not sure what it is. But those are two different backpacks. Why would you need two different backpacks? What are you doing? It just lends credibility to the idea that there are a lot of different people at play. At least two, but could be even more. The agent also testified that he left campus without a backpack after he left Chick-fil-A. So this guy that wore his backpack all day, he leaves Chick-fil-A with no backpack, comes back with a different backpack. Came back with a black backpack. Now I want to look at his car. I want to look at his car. I want you to take a good, close look at this car and tell me, am I seeing things?
And do you believe you wrote them there?
Representative,
Here now.
he returns on foot back to the same vehicle.
And what time is he returning back to the vehicle?
It's about 9:25 a.m.
All right, here he comes. Let's scoot it forward just a little bit.
It's a short walk from the amphitheater.
What do we see now?
Look, take a look at the front of that car. Take a good look at the front of that car. I'm going to let it roll forward, but take a good look.
That's the vehicle.
See the front of that car right there? Do you see a license plate holder on that car? I'm looking for a license plate holder. I see none. Again, I might be seeing things, but I think in light of all the other trickery that appears to be at foot, we need to look a little more closely at the car that we know is Tyler Robinson's because it was towed away from his mom's house. See the license plate holder right there? Do you see the license plate holder here? And does that front spoiler look the same to you? It just looks like a different car. It may not be. But I think if we're trying to place Tyler Robinson there, rather than just say, hey, we were going based on the description of the vehicle, then the vehicle ought to be awfully identical. There needs to be no difference in the vehicle. You should be able to see the license plate holder. That spoiler, that front spoiler shouldn't stick out so far. It looks like, I don't know, maybe that's just an artifact of the way the video footage is cut. I don't know, the angle. But I see no license plate holder, and that front spoiler looks fundamentally different. I've long suspected there was more than one person walking around that they're saying is Tyler Robinson every time. And I've also long suspected that there was more than one Dodge Challenger driving around. And I don't know if that's evidence of it or not. It looks like it to me. I'll show you just in case you think it's only in crystal clear picture. Do you get it? This is some footage. Let me find the timestamp here. It's 5:55. Here is some footage where you can clearly see the license plate holder on the car as it is being driven around town. So it's not just this is from Gray Hughes Investigates. This is work he did, I don't know, 6, 8, 9 months ago. It's a long time ago. But you can see there's a license plate holder right there. And that looks to me like the car that was towed away. I don't know. Just something to think about as we continue to investigate. Now, I want to get to the Brian Davis testimony today. He was largely the only person that had anything to do today. First thing I want to point out is that through Brian Davis, they gave us the Mike Mitchell testimony. You guys remember Mike Mitchell? Mike Mitchell was the guy who was the family friend who helped turn Tyler Robinson in. Now, just before this testimony, maybe just after, can't remember which, Erica Kirk's lawyer, Nyman, Mr. Nyman gets up and he says, Judge, we want you to put in all the text messages. No redactions. We need everybody to see all the evidence so that everybody knows this is being done fair and they know who's responsible. But when it came to the testimony of Mike Mitchell, both the state and the defense said, we don't want to hear any of this Mike Mitchell business come out. Now, the defense has objected to everything being published. So it doesn't shock me that they would not want it published, but it did shock me that the prosecution didn't want it published. I got this from Sam Parker on X, based Sam Parker on X. It's an excellent clip of this problem. First-
And I believe you mentioned previously that law enforcement conducted an interview with Mr. Mitchell.
They did.
Remind us when that interview occurred.
So that was the early morning hours of September 12th.
So on September 12th, this is a recurring theme. On September 12th, they interview Mike Mitchell. They interviewed Lance Twiggs about the same time. They interviewed Tyler Robinson, or they tried to interview Tyler Robinson about the same time. They interviewed Tyler Robinson's parents about the same time. But those aren't the statements they're trying to introduce. In fact, they're not trying to introduce the statements from the parents at all, which cuts right against this mountain of evidence we've been promised we're going to see in the preliminary hearing. You know, his parents turned him in. They told him he was guilty. He told him he confessed to his parents. Oh, yeah? Yeah? You know what would really cut towards probable cause? His parents saying that. His parents admitting the son confessed to them would really undercut all this probable cause hearing that we're having. We wouldn't have to worry about how many alleles were on the DNA. How long were they? We wouldn't have to worry about contribution percentages of the DNA on the towel versus on the screwdriver. We wouldn't have to worry about, well, can you see the grainy guy running across? Is it the same guy? We wouldn't have to worry about, well, can you identify his face? No, you would have mom and dad saying, he did it. He told us he did it. We were promised that evidence existed. We were told that existed. But we're not getting that. They're not putting that in. That's not on the witness list. That's not on the exhibit list. Instead, we're getting rehashed, recapped testimony from months after the fact, not the testimony from Lance Twiggs the next morning. No. We're getting testimony from Lance Twiggs in April. We're not getting testimony from Mike Mitchell that next morning. I mean, what did Mike Mitchell say the next morning that we can't hear? No, we're getting testimony from Mike Mitchell from the end of March.
At the Washington County Sheriff's Department.
Are you aware if a second interaction or statement was collected from Mr. Mitchell?
Yes, it was.
When did that happen?
It was March 31st of this year.
Why did we need a second statement? Why wouldn't the statement that happened on September 12th be much fresher in his mind than what happened on March 31st? Wouldn't it be more spontaneous? Wouldn't it be more accurate? Wouldn't it have more detail? Wouldn't it be more believable when you're talking about probable cause? Why can't we see Mike Mitchell's September 12th testimony? What was or wasn't in there that the state doesn't want us to hear? Again, is this how we want to proceed with the judicial system in the United States?
How did this happen?
So all those individuals met with Mike Mitchell at it was the St. George courthouse there. They met and discussed briefly. Just going to kind of talk generally about the situation. From there, Mr. Mitchell was given a handwritten 1102 paper statement, and he left the room, went into a separate office by himself, was there for about an hour where he hand wrote a statement, filled the statement out. When that was complete, he came back into the room where the others were waiting and provided that 1102 statement to them.
You know what would be even more convincing? Mike Mitchell on the stand. Lance Twiggs on the stand. We don't have to read what they said in a recorded statement 9 months later, 7, 8 months later. No. Tell me what they said that night, or put them on the stand where we can ask them some questions. Because it's when we're able to ask you questions that your case falls apart. It's when we're able to ask you questions that we learn that the Challenger was not driven by Tyler Robinson. It was driven by a bald man with 3 passengers. And something we would have never learned if we weren't able to ask questions. What is it about that date, though? March 31st. Why bring him in March 31st? You guys know anything that happened just before March 31st? I do. I'll be happy to show you something that happened just before March 31st. The former sheriff, Nate Brooksby, he resigned after trumped up sexual harassment allegations and investigation interference allegations, but not before he got a $100,000 payday in severance. So that happened on March 27th. The news of that largely broke on March 30th. And then on March 31st, now they can bring in Mike Mitchell. Now we can bring him in and get a new statement from Mike Mitchell. I'm sorry, guys. The entire Fed Slop narrative depends on Nate Brooksby being right. When he says, I received a call at 8:02, and that's the first I'd heard of this Tyler Robinson guy. Oh, he turned himself into me around 9 o'clock. That's Nate Brooksby. That begins and ends with Nate Brooksby. But it wasn't until Nate Brooksby resigned on investigation interference, whatever that is, and given a $100,000 hush payment, allegedly. And that's when we can bring in Mike Mitchell and finally get to the bottom of this case. A little suspicious for me. I'd rather hear from Mike Mitchell. Much rather hear from Mike Mitchell. So we learned that today from Brian Davis. What else did we learn? Oh, we learned there was a 223 round, a 223 round found on another roof. We learned that the other day, but he was asked about it. It looked something like this. Notice what he says about whether it would be possible to take a shot from where this round was found.
On September 10th, that a bullet was found on a roof. Do you remember that testimony?
I do.
Do you have knowledge about that bullet, what that is about?
Yes, I do.
What roof was that bullet found on?
I believe it was found on the computer science building on the roof, on the far east side of the roof of the building itself.
How do you know that it was found there?
I reviewed the agent's report that found that, documented it, and collected it.
What agent was that?
It was Agent Ben Schneider with SBI.
Are you aware of where the computer science building is on campus?
Yes.
Can you explain generally where that is located?
Yeah, from where the Losi building is, it's a building directly kind of south and east of there.
Okay, well, if this guy's ever with you and you're lost in the woods, don't rely on him to get you out because you won't make it. You will get lost if you're following his direction. Because the computer science building is not at all south and east of the Losi Center. Not at all. In fact, I have the UVU campus right here pulled up. I've got it angled to the north. I've got the Losi Center dead center here. So let me show you what the Losi Center looks like. That is the Losi Center right there. We are due north. If I go south and east, I get to this building down here to the south and east. I do not get to the computer science building. I have to go north and east to get to the computer science building. Got to go north and east. This is the computer science building right here. This large building with a round top. We'll talk more about it in just a moment, but you can see it is absolutely not south and east. So Magellan, he is not. Lewis and Clark, don't worry, your legacy is safe. Agent Brian Davis is not at risk of exploring new territory and accurately charting it. But most importantly, though, let me get back to this. Most importantly, he says there's no direct line of sight from that building to Charlie Kirk. But I would never play him saying that without sharing it with you because that would be pulling a Barron. And we don't do that around here.
Southeast from the Losi building. Where is it in connection to the auditorium section that we've been talking about where Mr. Kirk was stationed?
It's east of there. East and a little bit south.
Again, don't follow this guy into the woods and expect to get out. It is east and north, but that's okay. I'm not holding it against him. Not everybody knows the cardinal directions.
Yeah, mostly east.
Would there have been, from that roof of the computer science building, to your knowledge, would there have been a line of sight to Mr. Kirk's tent?
No, not according to the agent. Agent Ben Schneider, there was not a line of sight from there to where the tent was.
Well, I hate to be the one to break it to everybody. That's not accurate. That's not accurate. I could pull up Google Earth and I could flip it all around, and I've done it. But I don't have to do that, you see? Because that would be subjective. That would be subjective. Instead, I can show you one of the great heroes of this investigation, a guy we jokingly refer to as Paramount Impractical, Paramount Not So Tactical, but he did break several news items. He definitively proved Mitch Snow was at Fort Huachuca on September 9th, definitively, live on the air, and blinked like this when it happened. He also is the one who revealed that Andrew Colvette was trying to pass off a fake picture of Erica's kids as an alibi, supposedly for September 8th, even though the picture was dated September 9th. And even though one of the two kids is admittedly not hers, and we have questions about the other one. Nevertheless, not done with breaking news stories and helping out the defense, Paramount Impractical did one better. He actually went to the campus and flew a very expensive drone. I don't know what this cost him. It had to be tens of thousands of dollars. I'm not joking. Travel out there with the equipment, fly the equipment, buy the software, build it all out. I've actually used this. This is not my drawing. This is his. And he did a live demonstration of this software that he built, or that he used to construct this 3D rendering of the facility. And he showed there is actually a direct line of sight from the computer science building to Charlie Kirk, because that red line wouldn't be there if you did not have a direct line of sight. Now, is that the most practical shot you've ever seen taken? No, but I don't believe he was shot with a gun at all. I certainly don't believe he was shot with a 30-06 from 142 yards, and I think this would be a 223 round from like 300 and something yards, 320, 350 yards. A long shot. Especially dangling off the side of a building like that. But it goes to the veracity of the testimony from Mr. Davis. It absolutely is possible that a shot was taken from there. So it's absolutely relevant that a round was found there. It's absolutely relevant a round was found there. And we're supposed to take his word that the round is irrelevant. We're supposed to take his word for the fact that the round doesn't really matter because you can't get a line of sight anyway, when in fact you can. In fact, you can. Now, that's one reason I don't think that he was shot with a 223 from a computer science build, but it's possible. It's possible. Let me show you this video footage. Here's another reason I don't think that he was shot from a 223 round from the computer science building, because we have eyewitness testimony from mere seconds after the Big Bang. And these people were standing directly below the Losi Center. They were on a ledge, standing directly below the Losi Center. They were basically between the Losi Center and Charlie Kirk. And if you're standing in that position and you hear a gunshot, I don't think it strains the imagination to believe that you would know whether it came from behind you or in front of you. So what do the people on the scene say? Do they say it was a 30-06 from behind them or a 223 from even farther behind them?
The shot came from down there?
That's insane.
The shot came from down there. These people were standing between the Losi Center and down there. Have you ever been in the middle of a rifle range? Not hard to tell where the shot came from. You ever had someone shooting from behind you and shooting at a target that way? Hopefully not. But those in war have. Those who've been in unfortunate situations, hunting accidents, mistakes, close calls, they have. The shot came from down there, meaning it did not come from the computer science building with a 223. I'll give you that. But I won't tell you there's no line of sight because there is. So don't lie to me on the stand. And I don't believe it came from the 30-06 on the Losi Center because these people were like 20 yards from the Losi Center. And they said, oh, the shot came from down there. Came from down there? It came from down there. That's interesting. It's interesting. Now, let's get to the object of speculation we've had on this program for a very long time. For a very long time, I have speculated that Tyler Robinson was in custody prior to 6:25 p.m. on September 11th. I've doubled down on it. I've tripled down on it. I've quadrupled down on it. And recently, I quintupled down on it. And I was hopeful Brian Davis would clear it up. He did not. He did not. What he gave us was a bunch of Fed slop, starting with hearsay. And he did not even identify the source of the hearsay. I'll let you hear how it sounded from him when he said Tyler Robinson turned himself in at 9 o'clock. Here's what it sounded like.
Yes, it is.
Is that standard practice for a facility like that to have video recording in such a room?
Yes, very, very common.
Have you reviewed that video?
I have.
And in your review of that video, does it fairly and accurately depict Mr. Robinson at that time?
It does.
You see on your screen what's been marked as State's Exhibit 15. Do you recognize that?
I do.
What is that?
That's the interview in which Mr. Robinson was seated and waiting.
State moves to admit Exhibit 15.
Ms. Hunt, and the other two steps, what's your request?
We would ask to admit it into evidence. We have, defense counsel and I have agreed upon, I guess, redaction of the video. And I would ask to publish it both to the courtroom and to the media.
Mr. Novak?
Silent, correct?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor, Ms. Hunt is correct. The state had originally proposed a longer image with audio.
Daisy, do we know the timestamp on the 9 p.m. comment? Because I don't want to keep playing unnecessarily long videos. Regardless. Oh, she's grabbing it. So he, while she grabs it, he says, the question is to him, what time did he turn himself in? And he says something to the effect of, I was told he turned himself in at 9 o'clock. That was the big reveal. That was the big reveal. He was told he turned himself in at 9 o'clock. Okay, 11:11. Got it. Here we go. So I'm going to back it up just a few seconds before that so you guys can hear it in full. But here is how he revealed that he was in custody long before or long after your humble host thinks he might have been in custody. Long after he might have been in custody.
Were you aware or did you become aware what time that individual arrived at Washington County Sheriff's Office?
I was told he arrived there about 9 p.m.
You were told. You were also told there was no line of sight from the computer science building, sir. And there is. You also have put forward all this edited nonsense that doesn't add up. So you might have been told that? Who told you that? Disgraced Sheriff Nate Brooksby, who resigned and got a $100,000 payday? And after he resigned, then Mike Mitchell can all of a sudden come in and redo his 1102 or do an 1102? And is that consistent with everything we've learned to date? No, not at all. 9 p.m., well, that's new information because every single warrant, all 16 warrants in this case, said he turned himself in at 22:26. All 16 warrants say he turned himself in at 22:26. That's 10:26 p.m. Tyler Robinson arrived at the Washington County Sheriff's Office accompanied by his parents at approximately 22:26 hours. So who told you 9 p.m.? Not the same person who informed the person who filled out the probable cause affidavit. Not that person. And why don't we know? Oh, we could look at the video footage, but you've told us you've accidentally deleted it. We could look at that. Now, here is what we got from Ryan McBride shortly after the arrest. This is from one of the prosecutors. I am one of the prosecuting attorneys assigned to the Charlie Kirk aggravated murder case. Please review the attached letter carefully, as well as the guidance from the ethical rules below. Do not mention that Tyler Robinson invoked Fifth Amendment right or make comments on his character or your belief of his guilt. Notice it went to the Washington County Sheriff, but so there's at least threats on, hey, you guys be very cautious as to what you say. We've got it under control. But who told you it was 9 p.m.? And who told the people filling out the search warrants and the arrest affidavit that it was 10:26? And why don't those times match? This is an important case. This matters. This matters. And why don't we have the person in the chair who told you it was 9 p.m.? Why can't we ask that person why they believe it was 9 p.m.? It gets worse. It gets worse, believe it or not. Actually, hold on. I want to look at something before I pull it up. Okay. So he's going to tell us what time Tyler Robinson was arrested. This is a matter of concern here.
After all the interviews were completed, when we talked to everybody, that he was formally arrested at that time.
And I'm going to come back to that in a second. Excuse me, where did the arrest take place?
At the Washington County Sheriff's Office.
And what date did that happen on?
Would have been September 12th. It was about 4 a.m., I believe, of September 12th.
So he was officially arrested at 4 a.m. on the 12th per this guy's testimony. This guy who has now been caught twice telling us something that's not accurate. The problem with that is, let's go back to the actual documentation, not the testimony from today, but the actual documentation from early on, what we have received up to this point. We have here an arrest date at 4 a.m. on 9/12, right there. And I know it's small. I can't make it any bigger. So we got an arrest date right here and a booking date right there around 8 a.m. Okay, no problem. That's consistent. So what was this? What is this arrest date at a 9/11 at 10 p.m.? Because it says right here on this left-hand column, arrest date 9/11/2025, 10 p.m., arresting Officer Brian Davis. And then it says date in 9/12/2025. That's 1:58 a.m. This is the Utah County Sheriff inmate booking sheet. I would assume date in means that's when he was brought in to Utah County. But we're now told he was not brought in to Utah County until well after 1:58 a.m. on September 12th. Well, silly us for believing what you guys wrote. Silly us for thinking all this stuff meant anything. Notice here he submitted this affidavit under criminal penalty in the state of Utah that the foregoing is true and correct. And so when we're trying to form our opinion of what happened, all we have to go on is the public information that we know. And the public information that we know is you guys had a document that said he was arrested at 10 p.m. by you, Brian Davis. And then that we couldn't square that because it said that he didn't, you also filled out documents that said he didn't show up till 2:20 or 10:26 p.m. That was on the search warrants. And now you're telling us it's actually 9 p.m. And he wasn't arrested until 4 a.m. Well, which is it? Like, why don't we have one story? This is probably the strangest case I've ever seen. Probably the very strangest case I've ever seen. So let's go to Governor Cox's press conference. When did they believe that he was arrested? When do these guys believe he was arrested? That's Cash Money Patel, by the way.
New images to the public of the suspect. And just last night, the suspect was taken into custody at 10 p.m. local time. In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise.
So he says 10 p.m. So we've got one document that says he was arrested at 10 p.m. on September 11th. We've got the federal director of the FBI saying he was brought into custody at 10 p.m. We've got search warrants that says he was brought in at 10:26 p.m. And we have testimony now in open court that he was brought in at 9 p.m. And I'm the crazy one for questioning what time he was brought in? I'm the crazy one? And what about Lance Twiggs? Where was Lance Twiggs interviewed? Where was Lance Twiggs interviewed? I think this goes again to his credibility as a witness and if what he's saying is true. What about Lance Twiggs's testimony?
Named Lance Twiggs.
Yes, I am.
And who is he in regards to this investigation?
He's the roommate of Tyler Robinson.
Was he interviewed as part of this investigation?
He was.
How many times?
2 times.
When was the first time?
The first time was the early morning hours of September 12th, and that occurred at St. George Police Department.
Occurred where, sir? St. George Police Department? First time I've heard that. Everything so far has taken place at the Washington County Sheriff's Office or at the Utah County Sheriff's Office. Why was he interviewed at the... Surely there's documentation to support what you just said. That's a pretty shocking deviation from what we believed up to this date. Oh, on 9/12/2025 at approximately 0100 hours, FBI agent, Special Agent Lang conducted an interview with the boyfriend of Tyler Robinson at the Washington County Sheriff's Office. That again is from the sworn statements that were submitted to a judge. That was the sworn statement submitted to a judge that he was interviewed at 0100 on 9/12 at the Washington County Sheriff's Office. Well, Baron, you being really picky. No, we're talking about a man's life. There's a question of whether or not he is a patsy. You should be able to tell me the basic details, and they should be consistent across time. They should not change. They should not change over time. I'm going to leave for just a second the testimony to get to some height checking that was done on a key piece of evidence we looked at earlier. A height checking that was done on a key piece of evidence earlier. So let me get to that now because Diligent Denizen has done what I consider pretty good work here. We had a question of whether or not Tyler Robinson was the guy in the parking garage earlier. Well, Diligent Denizen went out and measured it off. And he found from the same angle, from the same spot, that 5'11" is what Tyler Robinson's height's listed at. And this guy is listed well above, or this guy appears to be well above 5'11", probably by 2, 3, 4 inches. Because that right there, that marker right there is the 5'11" mark. And he's well above that mark. It's something to consider. I know I jumped around there to get that, but I just saw it and wanted to mention it here. So Tyler Robinson being 5'10", 5'11", not well above 6 feet. Not well above 6 feet. All right, let me go to his testimony said, we had a question of how did he get there so fast? Did he drive? Because again, the documentation we had that was publicly released in sworn statements was that Brian Davis arrested him at 10 p.m. He was arrested by Brian Davis at 10 p.m. I showed you that document a minute ago. And so I had no reason to doubt that. I have no reason to doubt these people's sworn statements. I didn't think I had any. But it turns out that's not true at all. It says he flew into St. George. Well, we found the plane. And this plane landed around 11:37 p.m. It landed in St. George around 11:37 p.m., which is consistent with his testimony today that he landed around 11:30. So that'd be like a 7-minute difference there. That would be a 7-minute difference. And then you got to drive from here over to here because the sheriff's office is in Hurricane over here. I have no idea why they didn't fly into the Hurricane airport since they're going there, but they flew into St. George for some reason. St. George and then drove to Hurricane. And we'd had that flight from the beginning. We'd long suspected somebody from the state flew in on that plane. It's a state plane. A state plane. Tomorrow, we will look at some other places that plane has been and some other places other planes have been that seem to line up and be very interesting to me. Very interesting to me when we're talking about this whole case. And so where are we today? Where are we? Did Barron get owned by the testimony? Did they prove, even by probable cause, that Tyler Robinson absolutely could not have turned himself in before 6:25 p.m.? Nonsense. No. Not even remotely. They didn't even try to. They had a guy give hearsay and say, oh, someone told me he turned himself in at 9. Yeah, well, everybody else said 10 or 10:26. So somebody's lying. You're all lying. I don't know. Somebody's wrong. You're all wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. I think I'm right. I still think I'm right. There's been no evidence, no acceptable evidence that I am anything but right. Turns out I'm wrong. I'll be the first one to tell you. I opened up today showing you 2 times I made a mistake. And I explained why I made the mistake. I'm not above making mistakes. It won't be the first time it's happened. It won't be the last. But under no circumstances did anything happen today that changed my opinion. Nothing changed my opinion. I want to show you one more side-by-side comparison because this is actually pretty good as well. These are supposed to be the same person walking through the same parking deck. You'll notice this guy's eyes are kind of even with his brake, and you'll notice right here as he turns this corner, kind of his nipple area here is just below this second dot. This guy turns, his eyes are well below the brake, and his nipple area is down here well below where the other one was. I'll go back and let you see it again. They don't look like the same person to me. They look like different people. I've looked at their gait. You can only share so much on a given show. I don't want to overwhelm everybody. One of them walks more on the toes. One of them walks more on the heels. And if you know what a toe walker is, Jesse on Fire pointed me to this. If you know what a toe walker is, you'll know what I'm talking about. Somebody who's very heavy on the toes, soft on the heels, as opposed to somebody who leads with the heel and then goes with the toe. The gait is fundamentally different. Now you say, but Baron had a rifle down his pants. Okay, maybe. I got it. But I mean, just things we've been thinking about. But what did we learn today? What have we learned from the first 3 days of this? We've learned you can't put Tyler Robinson anywhere at all, ever. Because every single image of Tyler Robinson is grainy, blurry, turned to the side, no ability to distinguish the face. That's one thing we learned. The second thing we learned was these guys are deceptively editing the evidence. They're deceptively editing the evidence. They're deceptively clipping it. They're not telling you when 55 minutes have passed, and they're trying to play it as if it's one continuous motion. Oh, he just wheeled into the parking garage, got out and walked out of the courtyard. Yeah, but what did he do for the other 55 minutes? What did he do? We have a 55-minute gap, sir. Was he playing words with friends? Was he looking up dirty images on his iPhone? What was he doing for 55 minutes in his car, allegedly in his car? I don't even know if he's in his car. We learned they will leave out key facts that undercut their narrative. They'll lie to you. It's a lie by omission, but it is a lie. Because whether or not there were 4 people in that Dodge Challenger that showed up at 12:47 p.m. in front of the Nest camera, in front of the Noble's house, whether or not there were 4 people, somebody said there were. The person who provided you the footage said there were 4 people. And you didn't tell us. You didn't tell us. You've never told us that. All these are search warrants you guys executed. You mentioned him and his car. You didn't mention 3 other people. You didn't mention a bald guy. We learned this guy was meeting with TPUSA people at the scene, and now we have a representative from Charlie Kirk show who knows these TPUSA people, who was at the scene. We now know he can't account for his whereabouts while that meeting took place. Oh, did I mention he's a bald guy? Oh, and where did Blake Neff go after the event? Where did Blake Neff go after the event? You guys know where he went after the Charlie Kirk event, after the hospital? I do. Or at least I know what he said last night in an X space. I'll play it for you. Diligent Denizen asked a great question. After you left the hospital, where did you go? Did you go back to Phoenix? Did you spend the night?
Do you remember when you left like Orem or the Orem area that night? Did you leave on the 10th, like the evening of the 10th?
No, we left the following day.
And did you, like, how did you get back to Phoenix?
I went back on a jet that was made available to us.
Like a private jet or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, because those people don't fly coach.
On the 11th?
On the 11th.
So you were in Orem on the night of the 10th?
Yes, I was.
Interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, that is interesting. He went on to he stayed at a hotel. Doesn't quite remember if he left the hotel. Everyone else from TPUSA went to Salt Lake City that night. Or went home. Not Blake. Blake, bald guy, noted bald man, stayed in Orem at a hotel. Flew back the next day on a private jet on the 11th. Setting aside the obvious profligate spending. Setting aside the fact that they flew a man who doesn't work for TPUSA, probably at TPUSA cost, I would guess. Maybe the Charlie Kirk show paid for it. I don't know. But on a $8, $10, $12, $15,000 flight, when he could have flown first class for like $1,000, maybe $2, one way from Salt Lake to Phoenix. I mean, rented a car, drove it for $150. I don't know. Putting all that aside, noted bald man Blake Neff cannot account for his whereabouts, does not remember where he was after he landed in Salt Lake City, and does not remember where he was, or he does know where he was the night of the 10th on into the 11th. He was in Orem while the rest of the team was in Salt Lake City. Are you saying Blake Neff 100% is the bald guy that Miss Nobles believes she saw driving the Challenger? No, I can't say that. Can't say that at all. But I think it's worth discussing. I think it's worth exploring. And if I'm the law enforcement and I'm investigating a homicide, and I know there's a bald man who was there who worked for TPUSA, and I know the alleged shooter met with representatives from TPUSA, and I know the bald man stayed in Orem that night where a bald man was seen driving a Challenger back to the scene of the crime with 3 homies, I might be tempted to ask, where were you on the night of September 10th, Blake? Can I see your phone? You have that tool on Google Maps that tracks everywhere you go and you can look back at it? Can we get a better image from Miss Noble's camera than the blurry, chopped up image we were given? Yeah, blurry and chopped up and questionable. This seems to be a theme with TPUSA. Erica Kirk will do a good job. I appoint Erica Kirk. Cut. Why can't we just get evidence that Tyler Robinson solely planned and executed Charlie Kirk? Why do we have to have these jump cuts? Why do we have to have all these blurs? Why do we have all this discussion about hearsay testimony? Oh, I was told he turned himself in at 9 p.m. I was told he turned himself in at 10 p.m. I was told he turned himself in at 10:26 p.m. This document says he was arrested at 10. This document says he was arrested at 2. This document says he was arrested at 4. This document says he checked in at 2 p.m. at 2 a.m. This document said he checked in at 8 a.m. Why all the madness? Why is there not a consistent story? And why is the sheriff who took him in not making the tapes available of when he turned himself in? The question in this case is not whether Tyler Robinson planned and executed Charlie Kirk. That's just part of the question. The actual question is, was this a multi-agency cover-up to remove Charlie Kirk from this planet? And if it is, it goes right to the top because you have the FBI involved, you have the Utah sheriff involved, you have the Utah county prosecutors involved, you have the Washington County sheriff involved, you have the State Bureau of Investigation involved. This doesn't look good, guys. Honestly, 3 days into this, if I'm Judge Graff and I'm looking at all this evidence, I say, are you serious right now? Because you know what they're going to present tomorrow? They're going to present Lance Twiggs' testimony. You know what the only words you're going to hear out of his mouth? Yes. Uh-huh. That's right. Correct. That's all you're going to hear. What you're going to hear instead is a prosecutor or an investigator feeding him leading questions. And then you did this, right? Yes. And then he did this, right? Yes. And then you said this, right? Yes. And then he said that, right? Yes. That's all you're going to hear. We're not going to hear his statement from September 11th or 12th. We're not going to have him on the stand where he could be cross-examined. We're just going to get him saying, You know what else we're going to see? We're going to see pictures. We're going to see pictures of purported text messages. Text messages that could have been sent by anyone and could have said anything. Things that could have been edited, things that could have been manufactured. Oh, but you don't trust the FBI? Do you? Do you trust the FBI right now? What happened on 9/11? What happened in the Las Vegas shooting? What happened in any of the, dozens of examples of things like this. What happened in Oklahoma City? What happened at Ruby Ridge? Do you trust them? Do you believe everything that comes out of the government's mouth? Really? When there is actual evidence that could be available, look at do an extraction, an electronic extraction of the cell phone and show us what it says. Where did these, at least make an effort, where did these messages originate? Whose phone? Was it on a computer? Was it a phone? Did they actually say that? Where were they when this was done? We're not going to get any of that. Are they going to bring the gun in and show you how the safety works? No, they're not going to do that. They haven't turned any of this over so far to the defense. The defense has seen none of this. And if you're buying it hook, line, and sinker, I feel bad for you right now. I'm not mad at you. I feel bad. I feel bad. Because you don't demand the best. You don't demand the best. You should demand the best, but you're not demanding the best. You absolutely should expect your government, when it is prosecuting a human being and trying to kill that person, to be very precise, very honest, very forthcoming, be an open book. We're so confident in our case. You can talk to Miss Nobles. We don't care what she says. We're confident in our case. Sure, you can talk to Tyler Robinson. That's fine. Now, yes, we know that you've been told over and over and over he confessed to his parents. You'll hear from them. They'll tell you all about what he told them. They'll tell you how he confessed to them. We're not scared of what they'll say. Notice all of our documentation has him arriving at the exact same time. Oh, the footage of him turning himself in, it's right here. We'll play it in the courtroom. Notice how dark it is outside. Notice the timestamps. Consistent with everything we've said in all of our documentation. There's no distinction. There are no differences. This is how a courtroom should be run. This is what we should expect of our government, of, by, and for the people. They're operating on your behalf. To the extent the FBI is involved, all of us who are Americans, we're prosecuting Tyler Robinson. To the extent the SBI, the State Bureau of Investigation, is involved, all you in Utah, you're prosecuting Tyler Robinson. To the extent the Utah County prosecutors involved, all you in Utah County, you are trying to kill Tyler Robinson. And you should demand better. You should demand better. There should be no unexplained gaps in the footage. There should be no deceptive edits shuffling things around in the wrong order. There should be no edits at all. Just play the video. Here's everything we have. There should be no question of who he met with from TPUSA. Here's the footage of him meeting with someone at TPUSA. There should be no question he ate at Chick-fil-A. Here's the footage of him in the Chick-fil-A. Here's his credit card receipt. Instead, we're not getting any of that. Instead, we're told that Charlie Kirk's security team calls Ben Shapiro team while Charlie Kirk is dying in their laps. Is that consistent with trying to get him to the hospital as quickly and safely as possible? Is that consistent with trying to take all the life-saving measures necessary to save his life on the way? That call couldn't have waited 10 minutes? You couldn't have waited till you rolled up to the hospital and got him on a stretcher and got him in the operating room, got him in the safe hands of a capable physician and supporting staff? Nurses who know what they're doing and assistants who know what they're doing. You couldn't have waited 10 minutes to call Ben? Call Ben's team? I think Ben Shapiro was trying to get out of something, got out in front of something. If we're going to be going to trial, if this guy is going to stubbornly stay alive, this Tyler Robinson, if he's not going to go out by in a hail of gunfire before he turns himself in, if he's not going to off himself before he goes and does his preliminary hearing or trial, if he's just going to insist on showing up to trial and cross-examining everybody on the evidence and putting everything in and subpoenaing records, if he's going to look at the cell phone records of all 5 people who were in that SUV to figure out what they were doing, were they taking life-saving measures? Did they call the hospital and let them know they were on the way? Did they call 911 and let them know they were on the way? Did they do anything at all to try to save Charlie Kirk's life? Because those things would be consistent with it. But if you're Ben Shapiro and you know that's coming, if you know the defense is going to do those things, and they're going to look at the cell phone records and they're going to say, well, what's this number? This call was made between when Charlie Kirk went down at 12:23 and when they showed up at the hospital at 12:45. Who is this? And they know that number is going to go back to a member of Ben Shapiro's team? Well, you got to get out in front of that. You can't just wait for that bomb to drop in open court when this case goes to trial. You can't wait for that to leak out from the defense while they're preparing for trial. You can't wait for that to come up maybe in the preliminary hearing if somebody says, oh, and by the way. And why haven't we heard from anybody on Charlie Kirk's security team during this preliminary hearing? They were the closest witnesses. They would be able to tell you where they heard a gunshot come from. Why haven't we heard from any witnesses who were there? All we're hearing from is the cops who investigated. Where's the medical examiner? Where's the doctor? Do you have to have those things to establish probable cause? I think so, in my opinion. I think so. Because if you're going to get past probable cause, you can't just have only government actors up there talking. And then Lance Twiggs, who wasn't even there. That doesn't work. That doesn't work at all. Not one person who was at the event that day is going to say anything? Oh, but we're going to be awfully transparent, says Erica Kirk's attorney. We demand transparency, but we don't object to you not hearing from Mike Mitchell. No. We don't need you seeing what he had to say. And we don't want to hear from anybody who was there that day. We don't want to hear from Dan Flood or Brian Harpole. We don't want to hear from Rick Cutler. We don't want to hear from Frank Turek. You don't want to hear from any of these people, the people who saw the injury. We're only going to hear from government people and Lance Twiggs, who, in my opinion, may be a government person himself. Certainly seems to be protected like one. His DNA was at the scene as well. He had access to all of Tyler's stuff. All the stuff they found in Tyler's house, they also found in Lance Twiggs' house. Targets, the tools, the Dremel that they allegedly was used to grind messages on the bullets. That was Lance Twiggs' house too. Has Lance Twiggs given a decent alibi for where he was that afternoon before? We know the next morning he allegedly was at his mom's birthday party, which for some reason was being celebrated at 9 a.m., a weird time to celebrate a birthday, but 8 a.m., whatever. But where was he the night before? Where was he the day before? Has anyone asked? It would be nice to ask him on the stand. We're not going to get that, though. We're not going to get that. We're not going to get from anybody who was there. Not a single person there that day are we going to hear from. And Judge Graff is going to be asked to listen to only government witnesses and make a determination whether or not this thing should go to trial. Is that normal? I don't think so. I don't think this is normal. I've testified in front of a grand jury because they wanted to hear from more than government witnesses about a crime that was allegedly committed. And they thought I might have been a witness to that crime. And so I got called in to a grand jury, which is a lot like a preliminary hearing. It's just a judge or its citizens, but basically functions similarly. They present evidence, and then the fact finder, in this case the judge, in the case I was in, it was a grand jury, looks at the facts and determines whether or not there's probable cause to proceed to trial. And what happened to me was, while I was in the grand jury, after the prosecutor asked questions, the grand jurors started asking questions. I think 5 or 6 of them asked me different questions. Some of them pretty good questions, probing questions. I don't think it's normal to proceed to trial without having heard from any witness outside of the government. But if you wanted to have a government-led cover-up, this is how you would do it. This is what a government-led cover-up would look like. The government would be in control of everything, would be the only ones the judge hears from. That's it. That's all we'll hear from. We're not going to put a single person in a seat that could be cross-examined who doesn't get a paycheck from the government. Well, Officer Bagley's here. We'll talk about him tomorrow. We've got some information on Bagley. Whether or not he would have been motivated to be forthcoming. I'm sad. I'm not angry as much as I'm sad. Because it's a sad state of affairs to me when a man can be put on trial for his life and this is the evidence against him. Not a single video, not a single eyewitness, nothing. Not a single piece of actual electronic evidence, just photographs of text messages. I could send myself text messages left and right now. From different devices. I could log in under my wife's account and send myself text messages. Oh, Barron, you're the most amazing husband in the history of the world. Oh, you think so, honey? I do. You're so perfect. I love the way you load the dishwasher. I love the way you make the bed. I love the way you load the clothes washer and dryer. I love the way you follow the clothes and you don't leave clothes in the washer. You get them right into the dryer. And as soon as they come out of the dryer, you fold them right up. Oh, I love that about you, honey. And you're so romantic. You say the sweetest things. Oh, honey, do you mean that? Yes, I mean that. I could type all that up right now. You know where it would go? To every device logged in under her name. It would go to her phone. It would go to every computer she's. It would go to her laptop because it's also logged in. I could just do it from her laptop. I wouldn't even have to log in myself. And anybody who took a picture of her phone or mine would see those text messages from her to me. And anyone who knows me knows it's all BS. Every word of it. It sucks. I mean, I know how to turn the dishwasher on. I've done it. I know how to operate the clothes washer and dryer. I've done it. I've made a bed. But I don't think anybody would accuse, I don't think my wife would ever sit there and fawn all over me for doing all those things so well all the time. But I could make her say it. And I could put it on her phone and mine using any laptop I have in the world. I could put it on her phone and I could take pictures of it and I could show everyone. Here's the evidence, ladies and gentlemen. This is the evidence that I do all this stuff all the time. My poor wife wouldn't lie, would she? Well, the reality is no, she wouldn't, which is why I don't have those messages on my phone. But I could put them there. I could put them there in 5 minutes. I could do it over the course of the whole day and night without her even knowing, unless she opened it up and looked and thought, I didn't say all this stuff. What's going on here? And if she did open it up and look at that and say, ooh, there's a problem here. What's happening? Someone's hacked me. Now take it one step further. Let's say I wanted to frame her for a crime. I don't, but let's say I did. It's the same process. And unless she opens her phone and looks, she would not know I'm framing her for a crime. And anyone who took a picture of her text messages or mine would see that she has confessed to all these actions over the course of the day. I could put her anywhere. I could have her say anything if all you're going to do is take a picture of my phone. Let's say I did discover that. I was in the midst of it and I'm looking, I go to text her something, I think, oh my gosh. Or she is, rather. And she goes, my husband's framing me for a crime. And then she realizes she was at the scene of the crime. Well, she might start getting a little worried. Might want to turn herself in, try to clear her name. Oh, I didn't do this. Might go to her parents and say, Barron's crazy. He's framing me for crime. Were you at the scene? Well, yeah, I was there. But I didn't do it. All right, well, let's get you turned in. We got a family friend we can call, and he'll get it all worked out. Do whatever they say. We'll get a lawyer. Probably tell you to remain silent. We'll get it worked out. I don't know what happened. But here's what I do know. Nothing that has happened in this preliminary hearing yet convinces me, even enough that it should go to trial, much less that he actually did it. I've seen no mountains of evidence. None. No mountains of evidence. That's a damn shame. That is a crying shame. If you've got this guy dead to rights, why is your case looking like this at a preliminary hearing? Do you expect to get a conviction with this nonsense? You don't think his lawyers are capable enough to do what I did and more in 2 hours and 10 minutes, 9 minutes? Come on. Come on. And for all you, last thing I'll say, for all you Fed sloppers out there who are buying this, demand better. Demand better. Have some respect. Have some respect. Is it possible Tyler Robinson planned and executed this? Sure. Have I seen evidence of that yet? No. No, I've not. I've not seen convictable evidence, and I've certainly not seen enough to even send it to trial yet. And I don't think an 1102 recorded statement from Lance Twiggs just saying yes, 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 yes to leading questions from a government employee and text messages that absolutely anybody could create, just pictures of text messages. I don't think that's enough either. I don't think that's enough either. If you've enjoyed the show, by all means, please hit the like button. It does help. It does help. Sends the distribution into the stratosphere. If you are not a subscriber and you are new to the program, by all means, hit subscribe, click the notifications, click all, and you'll know when we go live in the future. If you would like some merch, realbaronpodcast.com, realbaronpodcast.com will get you taken care of over there. And yeah, thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to go through some of your comments. I will not be able to get to all the comments tonight. There's no way. I'm looking at the number right here. There's absolutely no way I'll get to all of them. But I will get to as many as I can. I will be selective and kind of preview them a little bit. But I will get to as many as I can, I promise. The state needs this to go to trial, and the defense is going to have so many opportunities to establish a ton of reasonable doubt. IMO. Also, AK and Blake Neff crashing out reeks of desperation. They are flailing. Love you, bye. I agree. They are flailing. And it does reek of desperation. And I think they see what I see, which is the case sucks. The case absolutely sucks. And so they're doing anything they can to stop people from watching the case, to get people's mind off of the evidence, and to focus it on Candace Owens while she's on vacation and can't do podcasts. That's all they're doing. Number 4, Utah fan, I'll allow it. One of my kids, professor at UVU, is on campus and her laptop crashed at the time Charlie was taken down. She hired a tech to fix it, but he was never able to retrieve her info. All the data was gone. She said it happened to another professor too. Would they be willing to go on the record on a podcast? Because I think that's valuable. If so, email me, realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. I'll be happy to look at it. My humble host, one of Buckley Carlson's sources, gasp emoji face. Way to go, my B. Maybe the other Carlson will have you on soon. I'll show that. That was a great interview on Liberty Lockdown. If you are familiar with, it's talking to me. If you're familiar with Liberty Lockdown, Clint Russell's podcast, it's really, really good. But I will show you here. That your humble host and Buckley Carlson shared a stage yesterday on Liberty Lockdown's podcast, and it was a lot of fun. So if you can't get enough of this case and others, we talked about a whole lot of stuff. We went for over 2 hours. We talked about a whole lot of stuff, but it was fun. It was a heck of a lot of fun. And at the end, I got to ask some probing questions of Mr. Carlson, questions I've been dying to ask. And I told him ahead of time, no offense, no hard feelings, but I got some questions I want to ask. But I thought they were flattering. And I thought his answers were phenomenal. So yeah, he did a great job. Baron, please refresh my memory. Why did AK book Ben Shapiro on the show? Thank you and your team for all the countless hours you give to bring the consciously awake the truth. Christ is king indeed. He never stated a reason. He just said there was a good reason to do it. And that Charlie didn't want to do it. And that Charlie punished him for booking it. But he never gave the specific reason. How many of you guys think it's weird for him to eat all day? You would think one would be so nervous and have knots in your stomach for planning and pulling off the assassination of decades. Yeah, we don't know what he ate for breakfast, but we know he ate from 11 o'clock to 9 p.m. That's only 8 hours. Like, I would eat once in that window, maybe. He ate Chick-fil-A, Dairy Queen, and a steakhouse. Dude was banging down food, and he weighs like 105. He's a tiny little feller. Fantastic podcast with Buckley and Clint. Thank you. I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. Baron Cole, my favorite pastime. Oh, I need to tell you, because I see the members' comments. So the members show tomorrow, I think, will probably be during the coverage. And I may watch some of it, depending on what's going on. I need to figure out tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow night. We'll see how it goes. I may just reflect on the coverage tomorrow. No, it's not a members show tomorrow. Today's Wednesday. Regular show tomorrow. Carry on. Forget what I said. Members show Friday. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do for that. The immense sense of pride I felt for you while watching Liberty Lockdown today actually made me tear up. We're so proud of you, Baron. The good Lord blessed you with a gift for truth-telling, my friend. I really liked it because I was asked questions I don't really address on this program, and was able to give a little bit more of my philosophy for governing principles, foreign policy. And, you know, I really enjoyed it. I would do that again with those two gentlemen. Clint's an excellent interviewer. He's a great interviewer. And Buckley's Buckley. I mean, he's fantastic. He's fantastic. I got one holy mackerel and 2 #1 fan tees delivered into Germany in under a week. Wow. Holy mackerel indeed. I guess that should allow me to register as #1 fan in Hamburg. Thanks for all you do. Yes, hamburger. He's a hamburger. He's a hamburger. My being members of the jury, howdy from Latrobe, home of Mr. Rogers. Won't you be my neighbor? Christ is king indeed. I did not know that's where he was from. From the glass line tanks of the Latrobe. Lance Twiggs, only one who was interviewed by 2 FBI agents at separate locations. Then they re-interviewed him by local prosecutors to draw away attention from that. All they did was have him verify the first interview. Don't go off script. Well, we'll find out exactly. We'll find out exactly what happened. Google just asked me about your video on the first day of the preliminary hearing. I wish you had seen what I wrote on it, but Google's taking a notice. What did they ask you? I didn't know they did that. They better ask you if it's amazing. For a guy who changed his clothes countless times, 910, perfect slot. Pretty weird. TR was still wearing the same outfit when he went to police station. Maroon shirt, hat, and all. Love you, Bubba Baron. Love you more. And yeah, I noticed that as well. He was wearing the same thing he was clipped in at Dairy Queen. If that indeed was him. Yeah, I missed you yesterday. Well, I missed you yesterday. Looking to move to Tennessee. What part do I recommend? Wife said east. It really depends. It's 3 states. East, central. That's why we have 3 stars on our flag. It's really 3 states. East is totally different culture and mindset than middle Tennessee, and middle Tennessee is totally different from West Tennessee. Just depends on what you're looking for. Research it. AK Tweets went over like a fart in church. Like one of those fancy churches with the awesome architecture. My first super from number 37 fan in Arizona. Yeah, they were pretty bad. I noticed he chilled out quite a bit today. I watched the UVU footage, missing minute. Jump cut, 11:30. Yeah. In slow-mo, shadows move, car fades over 5 frames. They use special editing tool, not a simple splice. Oh, I'll have to double check that. That's interesting. Good intel. What gets me is the same complexion as EK, and when we cry, our noses, eyebrows, whole face is beyond red. I've never, ever seen her have a smidge of real tears. No amount of makeup covers it up. I'm not a woman, and I don't have that complexion. I don't think. No. Certainly don't have her fingers. When the state asked the last witness if he heard other people's testimonies, I thought that witnesses were not allowed to be in court or hear other witness testimonies, or did I miss something? So there were 2 exceptions to the rule of exclusion that the judge allowed. And I'm not sure why he did, but one of them was Brian Davis. And that's why. Again, I'm not certain. I'm not certain. Thanks, Baron. They think your dignity can be purchased for $20,000. I don't know what you're talking about. Tell Andrew Wilson you don't throw pearls before swine. Someone offered me $20,000 to do an appearance. They're gonna have to offer me more than that. I mean, $20 million. We'll talk. Why? Well, I would never pay someone to be on the show. That is like buying them, renting them. That's the opposite of journalistic integrity. I don't think I would do a show appearance for money. I would for $20 million, but I would not for any normal amount. Not that I don't need the money. It's just I think it would compromise your integrity. You'd always be the guy who can be bought off. Hope all went well with Jeff's family. So amazing to see people still donating. Christ is king indeed. The donations to Jeff's family was a big topic the other day. Everyone was just in awe of the gift it's given his family. So to those who donated, thank you. Thank you. In the company I work for, I need 3 signatures to buy a new mouse, but they're telling us the lead investigator doesn't need to approve the removal of the crime scene. I can't believe it. Regards from Mexico Ray. Baron. Christ is king indeed. Yeah, it was funny. The lead investigator, what's being referenced by this comment here, the lead investigator said he learned that the crime scene had been dug up and paved over from the news. No one asked him, like, hey, are you done with the crime scene? Do you need anything else here? Nope. Just dig it up and Dig it up and down. Oh, MG, I had medium prime rib for lunch today. Hoodie. Yeah, this is prime rib hoodie. I got it. So yeah, we're twinsies. Enjoyed your appearance with Buckley and Clint on Liberty Lockdown. Excellent podcast. Humble grandpa host. Well, thank you. Christ is king indeed. Like I said, Clint does such a great job. Such a great job. Thank you, Coleman family, for sharing Baron with us again today. Praying for y'all. The truth will come to light. I like to believe so. If you and Daisy take requests, will you check these surgeons' flight records for the last 10 months? The first thing I would do if I was worried would be to stop flying my personal little plane around. Well, he has 2 planes. And I've looked at both. Thanks to Lionel yesterday. I never hear the word fracas again without laughing out loud. Blessings to entire community. I didn't catch that. What did he say? I wish I knew. Why don't they just do a grand jury indictment instead to avoid all this? I don't know. It would have been a lot easier. Maybe they don't do that out there. Hello to my humble host of the best community on YouTube. I've been a member 5 months and not a dull moment. Keep going, Max. Behind you all, truth warriors fighting for justice for Charlie. Christ is king indeed. Baron, who's the best attorney in Montgomery? Now that you're gone, who would you use? That depends on what you need. Talking criminal? We talking family, marriage? I mean, there's contracts, real estate. I got somebody for everybody, but I don't know what you need. My B, check out Josh Garrell's song, The Resistance. Lyrics are spot on. In Jesus' name, we cannot turn our backs. Thank you. Appreciate that. Can Tyler get great attorneys like Karen Reed's, Alan Jackson, or Only Public? Well, you got to pay for them. You got to pay for them. I mean, you can get anybody he wants that he's willing to pay for. But if not, he's got what he's got. Yay, you were live today. New members and first super chat. I will only listen to Candace or you. God bless you and your family, Grandpa. Number 1 fan is San Antonio. Christ is king indeed. Well, I appreciate that, but there are a lot of other really good podcasters out there. Any chance Charlie Kirk was meant to be like DJT at Butler, scared straight and not unalived? Maybe you could explain why the story has so many holes. They didn't expect to need this level of cover-up. It's crossed my mind. It's crossed my mind that it was just to put a scare into him and it went terribly wrong. That crossed my mind. What specific style, name, size, price are your favorite Adidas hoodies? I purchased various styles and some material blends are better than others. So I get Adidas Essentials hoodies off Amazon because I don't think this is a pattern they make anymore, but you can still find several on Amazon, different colors and all that. My favorite materials are the light gray and dark gray. I love the way they feel, but this one's actually really comfortable. It's smoother. It's a smoother material, a little thicker. But yeah, the different colors do have different materials, but they're all cut the exact same way. And it's without a doubt the best cut hoodie I've ever worn. I mean, it fits me. It fits me through the shoulders and the back, but it doesn't fall off. Like the tip of the cut here hits the right part of the shoulder. And it doesn't choke you up here. That's just a great hoodie. They should have paid me. They should have paid me. One day you'll see me in Nike and realize I got bought off. This is a good one. Baron, 28-year-old mom, trying to cling to our faith, but after Tiny Horse's tweets, I fear my daughters will live in a surveillance state. Yes, they might. They told us the truth. We create a pretend world. We're a global production company. Write the screenplay. We're the directors. We're the producers. We're the main actors. The world is our stage. Yeah. Yeah. They don't lie to you. At least they don't lie to you. Claiming number 1 for Sparks, Nevada, if TR gets acquitted for muck ducking, CK, can he be tried later for involvement? Please clarify double jeopardy. Thank you, Christ is King. It really depends on what the charges are when they swear the jury in. That honestly, it's what it comes down to. They can't charge him for anything that would be a lesser included. And they can't charge him with anything he's already been acquitted of. So, yeah, there's your answer. But there may be federal charges. Munchkin Raid, get him tonight, Baron. Oh, that's Valhalla VFT. Yeah, Valhalla, Matt, Trigger Smart, Matt from Trigger Smart, Mr. Let Go, Aaron from Mr. Let Go. Who else? Danks, Bays, Jesse on Fire. They have been doing a phenomenal job covering this. And I set my screen up so they could raid tonight, meaning they could throw their audience onto this show when they were done. And apparently they did. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I've noticed it's a little heftier in here tonight. So I appreciate your work. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And very kind donation, by the way. How long before TPUSA starts pointing fingers at each other? That's a good question. That's a good question. Depends on if they think Tyler's going to get it or not. Gifted 5 membos. 5 people who'll be able to watch the member show Friday. Please pray for me and my pregnancy having twins. I found out they have a condition called TTTS, which may require me to have surgery. Christ is King indeed. We'll pray for you, Catherine Huck. Hope for the best. This guy received a holy mackerel sweatshirt and wore it in 90 degrees weather. Thank you for all you do. Christ is King indeed. From southern Minnesota. Shouldn't be 90 in southern Minnesota. That sounds like global warming. Council Barron, if the cameras quit, you must acquit. As a retired LEO, this is the most bizarre prelim ever. Christ is King indeed. It's fake and gay. It's the way I look at it. It's fake and gay. I wonder why Megyn Kelly compared this case to Brian Kohberger case. As she noted, there's no clear image of the suspect's face in the available surveillance footage, and the DNA evidence is not definitive or conclusive. They will eat that DNA evidence alive at trial because of what they had to do to get Tyler Robinson's DNA even to be accepted. They will eat it alive at trial. They'll have an expert witness who comes in there and just eviscerates it. So the whole DNA thing, that may get you through to trial, but it will not survive testimony in trial. I'm just telling you that right now, based on what I saw. Trigger Smart Raid, hit that like for Baron. Join us tomorrow and Friday for the Tyler Robinson prelims live. As I've said, they've done a great job. A great job. They're all streaming it from all their different services. So what I've been doing, to be fair, because I like them all, I consider them all friends. I watch like Trigger Smart in the morning, and then I'll take a little break and I'll go eat lunch or something. I'll come back. I'll watch Valhalla for a little bit. I'll take a break, hit Jesse on fire. I try to like spread the love, the views around over the course of the day. But they've been doing a great job. Great coverage. Great commentary in the breaks. I have no trust in our judicial system anymore. I can only trust in Christ, who is king always. Baron, thank you for helping us to understand the courtroom doings. That's good advice. Good advice. I'm doing my best. I'm trying to explain what I can. But know where your home is. Know when you're home. This is a follow-up from a couple months ago. I asked you a few months ago your thoughts about this whole thing being fake. You said no, but would be too expensive. Your today feelings on it being a total mock. I still don't think it's total fake. Yeah. Hey, y'all, happy birthday to me, 36 years old. Let's celebrate with Charisse. Just passed 4 years sober recently. Congratulations. That's amazing. I see a kid in the picture, and I'm sure that kid is really enjoying your presence. Listening from work tonight. This trial's a sham. Thanks for the coverage. Love hearing your views. Baron. Well, thank you. Oh, the Munchkin. See, it did work. The Munchkin sent people. Thank you. Thanks for letting me know. Baron, since a prelim only tests probable cause, what's the defense best legal path to force expert analysis on the collar smoke, mic area debris, and first frame movements into the trial record? Well, we're a long way from trial. But I mean, just if you can get a legal, they got to clear something called 702. There's a 702. They'll have a 702 hearing, and the judge will determine whether their evidence comes in. But the standard, I don't know which standard they use in Utah. There's 2 different federal standards that are acceptable, but both of them generally test reliability of the expert's testimony. The judge is the gatekeeper, and he has broad discretion. So it'll be interesting to see see how the judge handles those 702s. I think in a death penalty case, you just err on the side of letting it all in. Every kook can come in, as long as he's not like wearing a wizard cap and shaking a staff, or whatever those things are called. And not like doing full hocus pocus. As long as you're not doing that, I would think in a death penalty case he comes in. Was so annoyed that your podcast with Buckley on Liberty was mostly the host talking. Couldn't give him a follow. I didn't find that at all. I thought, if anything, he gave us too much time to talk. I thought he did a great job. I like him a lot. Put us on hold and take the principal's call. Oh, yeah. I know it's the middle of the night there. I know where they are. We'll chat. We'll take it. I don't want to put the podcast on hold. I don't know how long we're going to talk. Senor Baron, thank you for your hard work and dedication. Allentown. Wasn't there a song called Allentown? Boo, ch, boo, ah. Wasn't that Allentown? Billy Joel, the 80s? You would think with all the unfair trials that Trump has had, he would want the justice system to work as it was designed to be, not whatever this disaster has been from start to finish. Well, Maybe. Maybe. Fed sloppers mañana. Demon Candace does call people. Yeah, I looked though, only because I'd ignored the text because I was going live. I didn't know she texted. But I don't think she meant her phone never works. I just think she thinks it's probably not. A poem at Zero Ghost. We love our humble host. Gary eats slop, then pukes it in a post. Andrew crashes out and talking points are sent, then proceeds to tell us what Charlie really meant. Our phones keep you private. They don't leave a trace. And they run so fast at Blake Neff's pace. Zero Ghost phones. That was amazing, Zero Ghost. That was amazing. Thank you. And very generous, might I add. But thank you. I really genuinely appreciate that. Well, we know that has to be good because the principal don't like talking on the telephone, so for her to call must be good. Yeah, she told me what it's about. And it is going to be good. Trust me, I want to call her back, but I know what time it is there. And I'm not going to call at that time in the morning. Magnetic fields form during electrocution, which can accelerate a necklace upwards, as shown in the YouTube video, Electrical Safety and Jewelry. Worth a look. It sounds like it's worth a look. Let me look. Electrical Safety and Jewelry. Interesting. Electrical Safety and Jewelry. That's a 21-minute video, though. Don't necessarily want to watch 21 minutes of explanation. Is there just like a demo where he does real quickly? I don't see the demo. I'll have to look at that. But thank you. I'll check it out. Sounds interesting. And the guy's name's Electro Man. You can't beat that. Can't beat that. Tell the principal we say hi and we miss her. Be safe. Well, I'm already off the phone. I'll tell her tomorrow. Buckley watches RBP for updates. That's what I heard. I learned that on the show. He said, I got some updates from you. Now I got to be careful what I say. Careful how I talk about. Wish I could send more money. Hats off to you for being an attorney. I couldn't do it. The anger is eating me alive. I can only watch you break it down. How do you contain the anger? Thank you. Well, look, I'm angry that they're messing with the evidence and they're hiding stuff. Prosecutors should be searching justice, not a win. And if the lady who turned over the Nest camera footage thinks there were 4 people in the car, we should know about it. That should have come out on direct. Or it should have come out from her. Is this your footage? Is this a fair and accurate representation of what you turned over? Lay the predicate, get it in. Have you heard Coach's skit of you and Daisy as gangsters who go into dark alleys to demand call logs from certain characters? No. Absolutely hilarious. Love you, my B. Christ is king indeed. No, but I'm going to find it. Gangsters. I'm not a gangster. This is a better way than Court TV. Sent you an email, don't hate me, about possible connections between Robinson and Bagley families. You the best, God bless. If I find it, I'll check it out. Send email to Tyler's side-by-side, same place, height comparison using horizontal perspectives, black shirt much taller than the red shirt. Thank you for all you're doing for justice for Charlie Kirk. I bet it was the picture I showed today on the show. I bet it was the same picture. Candace never calls. It must have been important. It was. She told me what it was about. But you guys should feel blessed. You're more important. Kidding, principal. It's a scheduling conflict. I'm kidding. You're more important. Hey, B, I'm so excited. My Curious Mind Crow shirt is almost here. It's the same shade of green as my convertible Fiat. So I can't wait to wear it with my top down to see if anyone notices. If I had a Fiat, I would sing that, my money don't jingle, jingle, it folds. I would sing that song all the time. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but there's a line about a Fiat in there. Compare the ball caps and all the footage and videos, including the police clip shown today, all different logos and fits both front and back. I noticed. That can only cover so much. Big flex having a principal call in during a show. That was not me flexing, because if you flex, you have to do it on purpose. Compliments to you and your fantastic show. FYI, goat water is good. We'll let you know that FPG water contains silica, which binds to aluminum, removes it from the body and brain. Keep it in your rotation for brain health. Was drinking it today. And goat water. I'm well hydrated. I'm very hydrated individual. I'm a hydrated American. A hydrated American. Good afternoon to you, my bee. Wife and I are always watching and appreciate your search for truth, transparency, and justice. Keep going, Max. My good sir, Christ is king indeed, and Jesus loves you. Jesus loves you too. Oh no! Candace used her phone as a phone. Here comes the crash outs. I can't wait. They're gonna be like, she's a liar. She says she never calls anybody. Here's evidence she lies. My B, Sodak. What's Sodak? Checking in. South Dakota. Can you say hi to my kiddos, Hadley and Grayson? They're getting a lesson in the judicial system this week, whether they like it or not. Go Max. Christ is king indeed. What up, Hadley and Grayson? I hope you enjoyed it. Today in court, perhaps prosecutors didn't want a video of Lance shown because we could compare video of September 10th on stairs. Maybe Lance question, is this real life, Baron? Keep going. Max B, love you. It is real life, unfortunately. It is real life. Tyler's eating like someone on an expense account. He was planning on turning those receipts in, probably made the steakhouse trip just to get Max. He had a per diem. He wanted to make sure he burned it all up. Baron, please read the National Defense Authorization. Yes, we've read it. We've talked about it. I try to keep the comments topical. So funny in the Bricks and Minifigs doc. Cops literally say this is Utah County. We do things differently here. Says everything about this state and county. Absolutely love our principal, our amazing teachers, and all my awesome classmates. It feels like been ages since we've all been united in this country. I'm so hopeful. Christ is king. Class dismissed. Not yet. Don't dismiss the class yet. We've still got some comments to get through. Heading down south 3 hours to Albany, Georgia tomorrow morning for the birth of my first grandchild. Excited to join you as a grandpa. Andrew from Lawrenceville. Willie's my nickname. I'm short, a.k.a. Willie the Shoe. Willie the Shoe. I don't even know what that means. But congrats, Grandpa. And enjoy Albany. And for those of you that think it's Albany, it's not. You're too Yankee. Can the real Tyler Robinson please stand up? Yeah. Taryn from NOLA. Hey, Baron, you, Candace, and this community are my only validation on the Charlie Kirk case. My family thinks I'm crazy. Even my sister, who's a lawyer, won't hear me out. Truth wins. Christ is king, indeed. Show her the clip about the officer admitting on cross-examination that there were 4 people in the car, or that the person who turned over the footage thought there were 4 people. And then ask her, is this the way the prosecution should be handling the case? Hey, everybody. How yuns? All doing tonight? Go, Baron. Thank you, Ricky. Appreciate that. Bull butter everywhere in the preliminary hearing. Molehill of evidence, in my opinion. Now, this is not refried bean color edge. Perfect color for day 2. Hopefully day 3 to 5 will invoke bolder, more aggressive colors. No buttery daffodils. It's day 3. Today's coverage is day 2 and 3. Thank you for always bringing us the truth and facts. I've been thinking about how Charlie felt he knew he would die. You think he may have hidden some evidence for us to find in the future? No. I doubt he thought he was going to go out that morning. I don't know, though. Cloud-based cameras only record based on motion activation, which can result in loss of video from what started the clip. Also, depending on the sensitivity, depends on how much video is recorded. Okay. Duly noted, but she thought there were 4 people, including a bald guy. That's a pretty fair description. All this camera footage is a disgrace. Prosecution investigators should be embarrassed. None of the videos are clear enough to say with 100% certainty that the person shown is TR. Correct. And I got to know, Tyler, you a left front pocket guy or a right front pocket guy with your cell phone? Do you play with your phone with your left hand or your right hand? I've got to know. We don't hate our government enough. Well, love that Buckley Carlson, his team bearing a high IQ outfit. Great show. Hope we get more content with the Carlson brothers. X has been wild since the prelim started. Hi, Candace. Christ is king indeed. She obviously wasn't watching. She didn't know we were on. Staircase video, blurry, grainy, total trash. Throw it out. This is their big mountain of evidence. Forged messages, DNA on his gun. No ID on video. No way, Baron. How is this real? What's up, Baron? Please correct me if I'm wrong, but the fact that there's video of TR confessing to Utah FBI makes everything else water under the bridge as far as probable cause goes. Guilty verdict. Objection. Assumes facts not in evidence. There's no video of Tyler Robinson confessing to the Utah FBI. There hadn't been any mention of it. The only mention is that he invoked his Fifth Amendment right to silence. So, whoever told you that, stop listening to them. They'll lie to you about anything. Was the original Nest cloud file produced with metadata, resolution, bitrate, timestamps, and export history? I want to know the megapixels and why the video is so degraded. It's a great question. It's a great question. I sent over the archival evidence of Erica with natural brown hair Monday. We can officially put this hard-hitting investigation to rest. She got black eyebrows. Is there any doubt her hair is not naturally blonde? She has roots. It's crazy making to me that reputable people like Megyn Kelly aren't objectively looking at what's really happening here in court. Do you think she's just too close to TPUSA to see what's in front of everyone's eyes? I don't know. I've noticed this. That's why I'm pulling. I've noticed this. Every time the hearing this week mentioned a buccal swab, all I can hear in my head was, no, it's a buccal swab. Love all your Baronisms. Christ is king indeed. I've been saying it in my head every time. Every time they say buccal swab, I'm like, a buccal swab. Morons. More evidence they don't know what they're doing. There are too many involved with the Charlie Kirk murder. Eventually, someone's bound to speak up, even though they would put their life on the line. They'll say they can't live with themselves, tell what they know. A lot of secrets get held forever. Who killed JFK? Will TR be required to take the stand when the trial starts? Love you, Baron. I don't know if you're American or not, so I'm not demeaning your intelligence by saying this. You have a right to remain silent in this country through conviction. You do not ever have to cooperate in your own prosecution. They have to prosecute you without your cooperation. So, you got to sit there and be polite if that's considered cooperation, but yeah. Baron Daisy, I'm an RN. I would really like to tell you something I noticed on the SUV pics. Reached out last week and not sure how to message Daisy. I've seen these things noted. I think it is interesting. Deborah, that was the time to tell us. That was it. You just missed your chance. The bus just left. Maybe catch the next one. I appreciate it, though. Very kind of you. As TR limped up the parking garage stairs, he seemed to glance back. You can briefly see the front of a car. Could be a gray Dodge Challenger backing up. I'll have to go back and look at that. I didn't think about that. The principal has now live called you twice in a few months. It looks bad when she goes on X saying she always texts, never calls people, claiming she probably only called CK 3 times in 5 years. Yeah, but she did call him 3 times in 5 years. And if you text somebody and you've got something to say to them and it's time sensitive and they don't respond, sometimes you'll call. For example, I'm sure this is much to the frustration of everyone I know. My notifications are not on my phone. So if you text me, I don't know it until I pick it up. It doesn't ding. It doesn't bing. Now, my wife is on emergency bypass. So if she texts, it dings. But my daughter, because she now has my granddaughter, they're on emergency bypass. So if they text me, I will know. No one else. Everyone else is just at the whim of me picking up my phone and noticing you've texted. And so sometimes that's hours. And so if you need me, you won't get me unless you call me. And she knows that. I've explained this to her. I've told her flat out, if you ever text me and need to talk to me and I don't respond, I'm not ignoring you. I don't see it. You have to call. That's the only way I get notifications. I believe Frank Turek was streaming for individuals that were not his son. Perhaps Ben was on FaceTime with a bunch of others. I don't think he would have had to be on FaceTime. I think they were live streaming the event from TPUSA. I think anybody with a link could have watched. And we've never gotten a good explanation of who those people were. So, yeah. But Baron, I'm in healthcare. If these clowns can't get 1246 and 0026 straight, I don't have a lot of confidence. This is basic stuff. Does no one proofread? Thanks for all your wisdom. Christ is King indeed. I'll admit it gave me a lack of confidence as well. Let's not use 24-hour time if you don't know how to use it. Let's go back to AM and PM. I've not heard anyone talk about this, and I can't hear it anymore. I live in Utah. No way you can go 60, 80, 100 miles an hour anywhere near Orem or Provo area. Traffic is horrible there. Just did not happen. I mean, I accept your anecdotal story, but I can't use that as evidence that it didn't happen. I have no idea what the traffic conditions were like that day. But I appreciate your 2 cents. I mean, it's valuable input. So, Baron, they probably picked Utah to do what they did because they researched the laws, rules of Utah, knowing they could play this charade. That's my opinion, and I go, that's my opinion, and we go what? I agree the Utah thing probably is looking more and more planned. Did Blake take the Charger for a spin? Great convo with Clinton Buckley. Buck showed high mutual respect to you. Well-deserved. Who is your patron saint? Mine is Colby. I've been going Max for 36 years. Christ is King indeed. We have an icon of St. Maximilian Colby in our house, and he is the patron saint of one of my children. Mine is St. Thomas More, the lawyer. The lawyer. Frank Turek has lied so much about his phone, it'd have to be on him. It had to have been him on the phone with Ben Security. And why was Frank even in that car? Probably comms. I hadn't considered that. Utah is notoriously corrupt. Runs deep. Lots of good old boy corruption in high places. Goes back to Brigham Young. I'm not surprised at all to see this. It's to be expected, unfortunately. I can say this. I don't know much about Utah corruption. I do not know anything about Brigham Young other than Steve Young is related to him somehow, like a great-great-grandchild or something. And I only know that because he played for the 49ers. So thank you to Barron for creating this community and show. I fully credit you with blessing me with the ability to be sober 6 months now and to be able to take care of my pops. Parkinson's going on 32 years. Christ is King. Indeed. God bless all. Amazing story. Amazing story. Give yourself some credit. You did the hard work to stay sober for 6 months, and I know your family appreciates it. Thoughts in Candace podcast, episode 329. She interviews whistleblower Corby Hall, owner of Fold AR. Then on 910, he got an ATF firearm trace request for a rifle he sold in Midland, later reported stolen. I've given my thoughts on that many times in episodes. I don't know what to make of it. Hey, Baron, I'm sure Ben and his crew are watching the live feed behind Charlie along with the Beepster. Christ is King indeed. Not a terrible guess, if I had to guess. Maybe not a terrible guess. Why do you think the defense is pushing back harder? Why do you think the defense isn't pushing back harder on inconsistencies during cross, i.e. other bullet found not being taken into evidence? Again, it's a preliminary hearing. You don't want to shoot all your guns if you're confident it's going to trial. Just enough to give the judge pause, just enough to win the public over on your side a little bit, and then move on. So, hello, VP. I've just been promoted. Work made me miss live. Thank you much for all you do. Christ is King indeed. God bless your humble Humboldt County fan. Go Max. My sober Humboldt County fan. Is it just me, or does Richard Novak look exactly like Sidney Pollack, who played Victor Ziegler in Eyes Wide Shut? And doesn't even the judge look like Buzz from Home Alone? I don't know. I'm not good with faces. My wife will tell you that. My wife will see someone. No, this is not a joke. She will see someone. I'll give you an example. We have a friend here in town, and we met him a few times. He's a friend. You met him here and there, and we're watching a documentary from 2015, a long time ago, maybe 2012. I mean, a long time ago. And the guy looks totally different. And she's looking, and she looks, and she goes, stops. She goes, "Is that Chris?" I was like, "No, doesn't even look like him." She's like, "Looks like him to me." Well, no, I don't think it is. So we go to the credits. No idea he was in the documentary. Never heard a word about it. Totally out of context. The documentary took place on the other side of the country. My wife recognized him 14, 17 years later, whatever it was. It was ludicrous. That she is that good. Me? I can meet someone and an hour later not know who they are. Have we met before? They're like, we're at the same lunch. Like, we haven't left the building. I'm like, oh, got you. There's not a lack of caring. Like and as soon as they say it, I'm like, oh yeah, your name's Bill. You told me, and I go through their whole life story. Don't remember faces. Don't remember faces. Ben Shapiro mentioned a meeting in the LA area. Andrew Colvett was also in LA before flying to Utah. Could that meeting have been between them two? Yeah, very much could have been. Very much could have been. But I don't know. Thanks to Mrs. Coleman and the rest of the family for letting you share your insights with us all. Truly a blessing that Candace has your help in this investigation. P.S. Why was Blake driving Tyler's car at 12 a.m. on the 11th? Well, we don't know that for sure, but it's a live issue. Stepped away from wrapping Spider-Man's sprained ankle to watch Bubba Barone. We know your lack of sleeping attire on Liberty Lockdown. I didn't discuss that on Liberty Lockdown. I don't think. No, never came up. Maybe Ben Shapiro relaying updates he received from Charlie Security is how Amir Sephardi, among others, knew Charlie's fate before many key American figures did. That's a good point. I hadn't considered that. Maybe he was the source of the information going overseas. That I had not considered. Oh, I just coughed in the microphone. I don't know if this person wanted me sharing who it was, but someone was telling me that their mother was mystified at how I could cough and the mother not hear me. The concept of a cough button, totally, I like just add a cough button to your board. It went right over, like baffled the imagination. Baffled the imagination. If the evidence isn't reliable, the case isn't viable. Ooh, Johnny Cochran. Barron, I thought probable cause returned by judge at first appearance. Can a person sit in jail based on more likely than not with no bond? Appreciate your insight. Yes, but if you'll remember, I think all of the delays to this point were from the defense. I think they were the ones. Pushing all the delays. This could have happened a long time ago. Hey, Mike, did you see Neff get destroyed on his lies and amnesia on X Rooms? Muppet Masher has a short clip pinned. Was it Neff driving the car? I did. We talked about it. If Candace and Charlie were friends or not is an issue to be proven now. Candace is asking valid questions addressing inconsistencies. Ben S. could be asking the same questions and they would still be valid. Yeah, validity doesn't go towards motive. Motive and valid are totally different. Hi, Baron. We went to a fourth party on Saturday. My hubby noticed a woman watching you on her phone. We live in the sticks in Missouri. We have a new high IQ friend. Thanks to you. Please give a shout out to Cheryl for us. Cheryl, you've been busted. But attend the party. You don't have to watch your humble host. Take a day off. Did anyone else notice the video from today? The video today from station, his hat was fixed. From the shots they captured, it was a snapback. This is all just insanity. I think there were 3 different hats that he wore that day. And then one of the 3 hats was the hat he wore in the station. If I'm not mistaken. Insanity. Different backpacks, different hats, different heights. Thomas Crown affair. A furry and a widow walk into a bar. One came looking for a new tale. The other can't stop telling tales. Thank you for all you do. Love you in this community. Been looking forward to this episode for your breakdown on trial and Slop. Hope you're taking care of yourself and spending quality time with family. Excellent show with Clint Russell and Buckley Carlson. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad so many of you watched that. He'll get a kick out of that. I'll let him know. I'll let him know you guys said hello. And we've got 5 more bimbos coming in. Coming in hot. Long-time listener, seeing how corrupt our government is, not the time for rebellion. How is it not time for rebellion? The tree of liberty must be refreshed. I would never be the one to lead it. I'll say that. You know, what other people want to do, that's their business. But that I'm not in the business of leading rebellion. That's not my call. That's not my calling. Hey, Baron, just checking in. As always, a fabulous show. My journey through the Catholic Church has been amazing. Fun fact, I found out my family's from Lithuania and has always been Catholic. Christ is king indeed. C.J. Ryder, see what you gone done. Oh, C.C. Ryder, C.C. Ryder. I thought your name was the song. Congrats. I'm glad it's been a good time. I'm glad it's been a good time. And thanks for the update. Would Flood need to be navigating with his phone to the hospital they already knew they needed to go to, where the doctor they needed was, all searched from an IP address in our greatest ally months before? It's one road to hospital. It's a good question, especially when they said they had the routes all pre-drawn up. I don't know. Maybe he was the one calling. Edge, the only mountain that TR is up against is Mount Corruption in the land of lies. Sir, why doesn't the defense object every time the words shot or shoot are used? He was not shot, and discuss different Tylers. Again, this is not the trial. Not the trial. So I'm assuming the trial will be conducted differently. I hope. We don't know what Tyler Robinson was doing for 55 minutes, but we know that he met with someone from TPUSA and that Lance Twig's DNA was on the evidence and that there were 4 people in his car near UVU that night. That's Real Bays. If you don't watch Real Bays, you're missing out. He's got a great podcast. Bays, you're right. You're right. Or at least I'll say we know that on the first 2. And on the last point, the 4 people in the car, we know that the person who provided the Ring doorbell camera or the Nest doorbell camera footage believes there were 4 people in the car. And one of them was driven by a bald guy. And we know there's a bald guy that was in Orem that night. The original FBI roof bid began at 12:23:35, showing him clearly running toward the atrium before going behind it at 12:23:38, while phone did not. What does your book of logic say about that? I think PH is phone. I don't know what you're addressing. What does the other timestamp say? That got past me. So Tyler went there in the morning, and he probably was told to come back when Blake Neff or whatever TPUSA rep he was needing to talk to got there. Second time arriving was probably about the time Blake got there. I don't think you're wrong for saying that. I don't think you're wrong for speculating that. Let me say that. I'm not stating for certainty that's what happened, but what other conclusion can you draw? He showed up, sat in his car for 55 minutes as if he was saying, like, are you here? Are you here yet? I mean, that's kind of and then he walks out there. Maybe he doesn't get a response. He walks out there, looks around. He's only out there a few minutes, right back into the car and gone. And then he comes back later. I mean, they say same shoes, but different backpacks. Yeah, precisely. This is what I was just referencing a minute ago. I saw Owen Benjamin's comparison of the TR maroon shirt videos to the Thomas Crown Affair gallery police chaos scene, and it makes so much sense. Yes, Owen Benjamin is brilliant. Brilliant. Hey, B, perhaps Snakefee was the first to see the DA and cut a deal. He sounds very emboldened to share or not share details of that tragic day. Christ is king indeed. Keep going, Max. Thank you for all your hard work. I don't know about that. 40,000 watching, 10,000 likes. Oh, you guys are shorting me on the like? Come on, hit the like button. What's wrong with you? OMG, I asked my son, who's left-handed, to perform the task. He places his phone in his right pocket. Yeah. Now have him walk downstairs. See if he leads with his left or right foot. I listened to BS until I couldn't stomach anymore. Oh, you're talking about Ben Shapiro? The most appropriately initialed man on earth. He said he wasn't against Candace, but in the same breath, he said he had grave misgivings about her from the beginning and trash talked her for the next 10 minutes. His lies are transparent. Yeah. I have nothing to add to that. Did you notice the judge says what time in the morning? Well, what time in the day as he pulls in the garage? Why did he know it was morning, then corrected himself? I don't know the answer to that. But did you notice he referred to the alleged shooting at one point today? I noticed that. That wasn't lost on your humble host. Baron from Singapore, and love your and love your show very much. But Michael Fay vandalized cars blatantly over a course of 10 days and stole public property, not chewing gum. Oh, my bad. I thought it was chewing gum. You are a national treasure. No, ma'am. You are a national treasure. You are a national treasure. Welcome home. Oh, welcome. I thought you said welcome home. Even better. Gifted 5 membos. We got 15 new membos falling all over people's heads tonight. Take advantage of those. Go back and watch the membership shows. Didn't you say TR car had a sunroof? No, I don't think it did. I don't think the car had a sunroof in the video that was shown. I don't think it did. Appreciate your coverage of the court case. Thanks to you and Daisy for all your hard work. Yeah. Check out the video of the accused jumping off the roof and look at the background. The cars on the street are spinning around backwards. AI enhanced. Love you, my B. Cars in the backwards. Spinning around backwards. I don't think that's true. Let's see here. We'll get to the bottom of this. All right. You guys want to watch with me? We'll watch together. We'll be the judge of this, sir. We'll be the judge of this blue ribbon K9. All right, there he is jumping off the roof. Oh, there he is jumping off the roof. Oh, hold on. I see no car spinning backwards so far. Maybe it's when he runs up to the road. Okay, here we go. Running up to the road. Running up to the road. Man walking forward, quite forward. I see no cars. Car going forward. Person walking forward. See no cars. No car spinning backwards yet. There's a car going forward. Car going forward. Car going forward. Car's going forward. Car going forward. Car going forward. Car going forward. Forward. I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe you watched something where they were skipping it back and forth. I don't know. You are absolutely crushing this coverage. Thanks, B. Christ is King. God bless you, sir. God bless you, Corey. You're crushing this commentary. Love his high Q outfit. Although I will say, when I started watching 1 week after Charlie's exit, I had no idea I'd be checking fingers, twisting towels, and watching my steps downstairs incessantly. Well, we're full of good information here. Full of good information. TPSA crash outs over the last 3 days have been very telling. Seems like they all know this trial is doomed and trying to cover their heinies. No, the way this makes it to trial. I think it could make it to trial. I think it could. But yeah, the crash outs are pretty telling to me. You think the defense team is letting it be admitted to just be able to ask where the missing footage is at trial? I don't know. I mean, that you can't object to the admission of evidence right now. I mean, you could object to the admission of evidence in the preliminary hearing, but that has no bearing on whether it's admitted at trial. Did you also hear Blake mention Andrew flying from Phoenix on 9/10 and then quickly trying to retract that information? I did. I live 30 miles south of the courthouse. I'm half tempted to show up and hide in the circle just to watch the circle show. Never mind, it's too hot. I think I'll stay here in the AC and support Grandpa B and his high IQ outfit. Thank you. Very kind of you. Let's see here. LMAO, electronics these days. Did you turn it off and back on again? Yes. The judge actually had them do that in the trial, the preliminary hearing today. Something was going twitchy with the monitors. He's like, all right, everybody turn your monitor off and back on. I was like, oh, he's an IT guy. He's an IT guy. When you call for IT help, you always got to say, look, I've restarted the machine. It's plugged in. It's turned on. Start there. Skip ahead to there in the script. The right pocket is where the keys and pocket knife live. Correct. That is absolutely correct. Bearing the phone in the left pocket stairwell camera is mirrored, flipped. That also explains why the limp on the left leg. White patch on bottom of bag is reversed to the left of the cam only as well. No. Right pocket was at the top of the stairs before he came in. He switched the pocket. No, I don't agree with that. There was one part that was mirrored for some reason. They mirrored it. I'm not sure why. And it did look like he switched limping legs. But the cameras in the pocket, I'm pretty sure, are not mirrored. I'm almost 100% sure they're not mirrored. Long time listener, first time Tuper Chat. Second guy in shorts is a toe walker. First isn't. Different guys. Jesse on fire noticed the toe walker. I made that point, and I credited Jesse for that excellent observation. I'm sure you will covered this, but just in case you didn't hear the whole X space last night, Blake and Andrew said flew up from Phoenix. That's correct. That's correct. Curious if they were able to recover all these different outfits and blue backpack. Did they impound the Charger in search of evidence? They did. They did. Wrote Candace yesterday about the same thing. The pictures of the SUV are two different vehicles. One is 60/40, the other is bucket seats. Can you guys look into it, please? In the middle? No, they were both bucket seats. I don't think either were 60/40, but I'll double check. I'll double check. Hit the like button. Only 11,000 likes, 42,000 watching. Bull butter. Yeah, guys, tighten up. King Baron, the great one. Oh, the great one. No, that's Mark Levin. We're not him. Thankfully. Great show as usual, sir. Baffling that they think people aren't going to catch all the edits. The internet is undefeated. Appreciate the work you and Daisy do. Yeah, now we understand why they weren't releasing videos all this time. I'm left-handed, but do a lot of things with my right hand. I switch hands when it comes to my phone, but I always go down the stairs with my right foot first. Not the same person. Can't change my mind. I agree. Gifted 10 membos. My goodness, there's 25 new people that have access to membership comments. I get this question all the time. How do I get one of those memberships? They are randomly distributed to people who are in the live chat when they're gifted. So those are the people who get them. In 7 days, I'll be in the OR for a major spinal fusion. Spent 11 months prep while watching CK case unfold with our community. UB and CO, I'll be watching from the hospital. Pray for me. Christ is King indeed. I will pray for you. I hope I never need anything like that. I've seen people, man, that's a tough recovery. That ends up well, but that, it's tough. I'll pray for you. And I know you know that. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Here, take my money. Carry on, good sir. That is all. Oh, well, thank you. Very kind of you. I'm late watching in 2X. Couldn't wait all day to hear your take on the preliminary trial. Hoodie color looks fantastic. Thanks for all you do to prepare for us each time you go live. Yeah, the preparation, and Daisy deserves a lot of credit for that. The preparation is intense, particularly on days like today when we're covering something that happened in real time right up until we go live. Quick question, how far of a drop-off of the building you think that was? I'm guessing 15 feet. Because if I'm not mistaken, it's over 20 feet. I don't think it was. If he jumped off the roof, he'd be limping or had broken parts. Ain't no way. I'm thinking it's 15 total, and then he hung from it, so you're looking like 7 less. So you're like an 8-foot drop, maybe. I give or take. Yeah. If the pocket doesn't fit, you must have quit. Thank you, Baron and crew. You're doing the Lord's work. Thank you. Christ is King indeed. No fog lights on the car leaving the parking garage. Let me check that. Is that true? Parking garage. Here we go. I'm going to do this quickly. Car leaving the parking garage. Not his car. Here we go. Oh, went too far. Yeah, I don't see any fog lights. You're right. Were there fog lights on his car? There are holes where the fog lights are. I don't know if you can see whether there are holes there in this image or not. It's too dark. Do they make a version without holes? That's something to look into. Thank you, Deborah. Well done. Great. See, you can't get anything past you people. If the pocket doesn't fit, you must have quit. Love you, Brandon crew. You're doing the Lord's work. Thank you. Christ is King indeed. Yeah. You guys are good with the rhymes. Johnny Cochran started something. I'm so ashamed of my state right now, but also wondering if there's a fed-up. How would Utah authorities and officials have the ability to do the right thing without fear for their lives from the higher-ups? Well, it's a good question. There's another person here that commented on the lack of fog lights, and because of that, I'm going to I'll pull that up in a second. I'm going to look and see 2013 Dodge Challenger, no fog lights. See if they even make such a thing. I don't see that they make one without fog lights. It might have just been they do. Or yeah. That's just interesting. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into this. This is really an interesting little rabbit hole to run down. Feels more like confirmation bias after the Mike Mitchell call than a legit investigation where they found evidence that lead suspects, etc. Also, what's with the Davis timeline not matching Bates numbers? Yeah. What's with his whole testimony? It's all sloppy. Fed sloppy. I absolutely love how you break down court cases, making a way that's easy to understand. Love being a part of your high IQ outfit. Keep going, Max Baron. Thank you. Looks like there's something on the inside of the windshield in the car in the parking garage. I did not see that in the windshield at his mom's house. I don't think it was something on the windshield. I think his visor was down, and that's the little warning sticker on the back of the visor, if I had to guess. Because I'm actually looking at it right now in the parking garage, and that's what it looks like to me. Looks like the visor was down. But maybe. Yeah, it looks like a visor. But I'll have to double check. There's also something large in the windshield. Hold on. There may be a lot more to look at there. That may be a totally different car. Seems to me TR was instructed to walk to campus and be seen. Well, you don't have to instruct him. You can say, hey, meet us over here. Oh, we changed our mind. Meet us over here. Oh, actually, come meet us at Chick-fil-A. I mean, you could just have him moving all over town. Baron, we're so glad you took the day off yesterday to say goodbye to Jeff, and may he RIP. Thank you. I appreciate that. Wanted to point out I watched Ian today, and he noticed the limping leg switch from right one to the left one in the stairwell footage. Yeah, I'm having trouble deciding whether that was mirrored footage or not. People have said it is. I can't figure out why they would mirror the footage. Ian was right to point it out. Something that needs to be answered. Second, you said, what's in the clip? I thought, what's in the box? Then you went there too. Makes me feel IIQ when we think alike. Love you, Baron, and all the Baronites. Christ is king indeed. Carolina girl forever, you are high IQ. You are high IQ. First two cuts, his right leg went straight, and then on the third, his left leg was straight. Yeah, he also bent his leg. I didn't point this out, but on one of the stair descents, he bent his leg, and then he started limping down like he forgot he was supposed to bend his leg. It's kind of what it looked like to me. Have your Daisy done a timeline, a visual map of alleged TR whereabouts on that day with the timestamps? Prosecutors are giving Charlie Pepe Sylvia conspiracy board theme. I actually have, and it's possible. It's a very tight timeline, but it's possible. Oh, do men put their phones in the front pocket on the side, depending which way they dress? I do. I never thought about it that way, but yeah, I guess we do, Sarah. Do we know what caliber bullet was found on top of the other building? 223. The bullet that was allegedly the police officers. Yeah, it was a 223. 223. How about the only one who admitted to being on the phone actually was Frank? If he is nefarious, as I think he is, could have easily been showing what was going on to a lot of people. Why else would he preemptively say he accidentally on FaceTime? That's a really good point. What if he was the one on FaceTime with Ben Shapiro's team and he was on FaceTime the whole time and he knows his phone records will show that? I had never considered that. What an excellent comment. What a generous contribution. And thank you. You have actually just blown my mind. So thank you. Baron, what is one book you recommend for reliable USA history? Starting to understand how the history I learned was very wrong. Love the show. Been watching for a few months. Oh, man, that's a good question. I'm not sure there is one that comes to mind. I wish there was. I can't think of one off the top of my head. I'm sorry. Keep your foot on their neck. Oh, thank you. This is an interesting comment. Feds found out about Tyler and his trans lover's plan to kill Charlie and used it to their advantage. Couldn't risk Tyler missing that shot. that's interesting, but I don't think that's Tyler on the roof. I don't think it's Tyler on the roof. Bubba Barron, our humble host, watching from Dubai. It's 4:45 a.m. and could not miss this. Been waiting for this episode since your Google Trends videos. Most definitely your number one loyal fan in the UAE. Wow. Thank you. Very kind of you. Very kind of you. Nice sacrifice to wake up early. We're so grateful for you. I hope the funeral your friend provided some amount of peace for you and his family. Wondering if you would share the story about why St. Maria Goretti became so special to you and your family. I think it's just a beautiful story of faith and forgiveness. I have struggled with forgiveness for people. And if someone who could go through what she went through forgive someone before she died, at her tender young age, not even a teenager, who am I, right? Who am I to not forgive somebody? I think it's just a tenderness. It's she was able to do something I wasn't, so why wouldn't I look up to her as a hero? Is Agent Hull a strange character? I can't find any info about where he's from and what accent he has. He says some weird connections with New Zealand, and he sounded like he could be from here. Christ is King, love you be. I didn't do a deep dive on Agent Hull. I have no idea where he's from. So if anyone has that, produce some content. I'll steal it. I will credit you, but I'll use it. $100,000, wasn't that the amount offered to the person leading to Tyler's arrest? I think you might be right. Watching the video of the person going upstairs, have you ever known a man with no calf muscles? I've never seen such a skinny legs on a guy. Calf muscles are largely genetic. Nate Valhalla at VFT talks about this. He says he looks ridiculous because he's just massive human being. And he works out his legs all the time, and he's constantly doing all the workouts that should give you big calf muscles. They just don't grow. So you can't fault a man for the size of his calves. Not his fault. Ian pointed out that the third take in TR in black and staircase, he limps on the other leg. Correct. Yeah. We just don't know why. Keep going, Max. I'll do my best. Baron, my 7-year-old daughter just said the case is starting to unravel like a fruit roll-up. Big fans from Umatilla, Florida. Keep applying the pressure. I am doing my best. And I like that. Unravel like a fruit roll-up. I haven't had a fruit roll-up in 35 years, probably. God bless our B and his family. Well, thank you. UVU security guard found a holster sleeve for revolver and did pick it up. Yes, we covered that Monday. Is it possible they deliberately overcharged Tyler? NG story dissolves. I don't know what NG means, but not guilty. Story dissolved. Oh no, that's a disaster because now you have a real problem. Well, I guess they could say, well, we tried. Utah called a natural recruiting gown for the FBI and CIA in book FBI and Religion. Did you know that UVU runs a natural training center? Yeah, we've covered all that. The CIA component, the recruiting. It's in old episodes, but we've definitely dove into it. Thank you for your coverage of the preliminary hearing. Love and blessings to you, Daisy, and your families. Christ is King indeed. Thank you. Woohoo, caught alive. Well, at least partially. Keep being awesome and always go Max. Thank you, Bubba. But Baron, thanks you very much. I'm going to have to move even quicker through these. We're at 3:21 and we're only about halfway done. Could the defense consult you? You have so much valuable information you could share with them that could potentially save a kid's life as a private citizen and not a lawyer. Yeah, I'm not licensed in Utah, but they can talk to anybody they want. They probably wouldn't do it directly. They'd probably do it through an investigator if I had to guess. But I don't know what their plan is. Is there a direct line from the computer center to work? Yes, there is. Keep grinding for us. Oh, that's to Daisy. Daisy, I want you to grind, girl. Blake Neff confirmed to Charlie's Angels. Colvette flew up from Phoenix, correct? Recanted wherever he came from. I do not want to say Phoenix. Yeah. The day the FBI lab does not have an NGS sequencer like Illumina, which is not exclusive for mitochondrial DNA and only has access to SDR testing used in low-funded uni labs, is the day I can fly. Oh, I wasn't aware. I'm not aware of the difference. You're telling me things I don't even know. John Bray's theory is a bullet fired in the direction of Charlie with a frequency from that round is the trigger for the mic. Could that be why a bullet was found on the computer science building? I don't know. I have no idea. That's a really complex theory. You'd have to consult with him. Sup, BC? Great job on Liberty Lockdown Pod. Was fun to see you finally meeting Buckley Carlson. You made a great point there. TPUSA and his minors are attacking CO because they're in trouble. Can you elaborate, please? Yeah, their case is falling apart. The pretrial hearing, the preliminary hearing has been a total disaster. And anyone watching it objectively has to see that. I mean, funny evidence, weird cuts, misstatements, my body cam footage died right when I got to the most important part. And I was with a guy, I don't know who he was, and he had a badge and a gun, and he was in civvies, and I didn't catch what agency he was with or catch a name. Oh, come on. Shut up. Shut up. Looks like license plates on the front dash and the windshield, passenger side. No, I think that's the thingy thing. Some guys with sports cars keep their plate on the dash for aesthetics and or aerodynamics. My brother is a street racer. It's common. I don't think Utah requires front plates. So I don't think he has one. I just think he had a front plate holder. He said 8:30 p.m. earlier like this. At 8:30. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. All over Utah. News on 910, they interviewed so many grown military men, attendees saying there's no way to tell where the shot came from. No one could tell, over and over, seeding doubt. Certainly had that effect. Quick question, do you think the court will query or quibble over the quick quack? I doubt it. How could you? It's quick quack. How come BS midget horse rider security team has cell phone numbers of Charlie's security team? What's the relationship here? Sounds like the call went the other way, if I had to guess. Go back to episode 65. There's a suspect in jeans, a black shirt on the computer science building. Also has a person with hip, as a person with hip problems. This is exactly how I limp going up downstairs when hurting. Oh. I do remember that, actually, now that you mention it. The person in black jeans and a black shirt on the computer science building. Weren't they like on one of the floors in between? I'll have to go back and look. Good call. Thank you. You just jostled the old memory there. Second set stairs, TR jeans, looks left foot. Here's flexed vertical. Yes, gotcha. Not Blakey saying he would accept $15,000 to hear Blake B. Info he has. Paraphrasing, have your attorney draft something. That's a lot of money. Can't make this up. I mean, I wouldn't take $15,000 to appear on someone's podcast because you look like a sellout. But if someone wants to pay me $15,000 to watch an hour-long video, no way I'm turning that down. You could poke my eyes up with toothpicks like they do in the torture movies. Can we stop calling the guy at UVU Tyler? No pics or vids prove it's Tyler. Mike Mitchell's a retired cop who lives in the neighborhood of TR's dad. David said, today I flew to St. George. He didn't drive. Oh, all that, yes. I don't know what you're talking about on the today business. I love it. Currently 1,000 watching Charlie Kirk channel live and 43,000 watching Bear. Yeah, nobody wants to hear what they have to say. Side note, the Love You, My B tank is amazing. Received mine today. I've heard a lot about the tanks, that they're great. So if you like tanks, realbaronpodcast.com. Surely the defense has noticed some of these inconsistencies you're pointing out from this pretrial versus the sworn statements. Why is the defense not questioning these people on their inconsistencies? Again, it's not trial. So you would want to hold that back. They're probably upset I'm pointing it out. Maybe Yellow Backpack Tyler is the one who was talking to TPUSA staff. Life is driving video at minute 22:35, 23:05. Everyone just standing around talking. You see Tyler's also left-hand dominant. You've piqued my interest enough to look. If you're just talking about a guy in if you're just talking about a guy in what do you say, 22:35? You're just talking about a guy in a maroon shirt. I don't know how much help that's going to be, but I'll go look. 22:35 to 23:05. All right, I'm at 22:20. No, it's 23:25. 22:35. Okay. I see nobody standing around. What did you say? Yellow backpack? Oh, I see that guy. That's not Tyler. No, that's not Tyler. That's not Tyler at all. But good catch. I mean, it kind of looks as, Tyler-ish. Tyler-ish. For all the people talking about the comments of the sunroof, I don't. If I ever said he had a sunroof, I was mistaken because I don't believe the car has a sunroof. There was a Dodge Challenger with a sunroof at the McDonald's. We spotted that, if you remember. But that's why I thought I ruled out it was his car because it had a sunroof. Bagley heard shot, looked down, then looked down at the tent, went downstairs, got the call. A suspect was in custody. Thought it was a handgun. Then he figured it was a long gun. Went to Los Center roof with an unknown badge dude. Not weird. Yeah. I mean, summed it up nicely. But granddad, they are trying to mold what they have into evidence because the plan was to take TR out, but he spoiled the plan by turning himself into the sheriff's office. And now they need evidence. I agree. I mean, I am with you there. I don't think the plan was for him to make it. I do not think I don't think the plan was for him to make it. I don't give a damn. I watched her last night. She had a great podcast last night. Lance uses tools. DNA taken 9/12 and it showed 9/15. His DNA present on item found with dead body cam between 12 and 1 p.m. that holds 12 to 14 hours charge and beeps when dying and next interviewed in April 2026. You have accurately summarized the problem. Accurately summarized the problem. Can people with original footage from UVU that day send their original footage directly to the defense lawyer so it can be properly entered as evidence and used in the case? Sure. There's nothing against that. I would call the office first and let them know you're doing it. So I would call their office and say, hey, I have original footage. I'd like to get it to you guys. Can you give me an email address to send it to or a way to transfer it? Sometimes they'll have a transfer portal or something. Does anyone recall the interview with a student where he's talking about seeing a man up on the rooftop a couple of times the week before September 10th? Any important flights coming in or out of Orem a week before the 10th? Christ is king. Indeed. Love you, my bee. I've heard tale of that interview, but I've never seen it. So if anybody has it, by all means, would love to see it. Cohen Film gifted 10 membos. And I intended to get to the P.O. box this morning, Cohen, but I was way too busy. And so I'm hoping to do it tomorrow. I know you said there's something waiting there, and I will get there, and I appreciate it. And thank you for the 10 membos. We're up to like 35 new members tonight, just out of gifts. Cell phone records and vehicle records indicate Tyler Robinson was present at this location during the relevant time period. Do we have possession of or access to those cell phone records and vehicle records? No, we don't. And I don't know that. We'll go back to that. That will come up. So we'll cover that a different day because that'll come up. My question is why? When it said he had been on campus 4 times, DJT and TPUSA all jumped on the fact that on X, that he met with someone at TPUSA in the morning when TPUSA knew he had already been there. Yeah, that's a good point. Why have they not told us that? Barony and Carroll's room is a suspect. Yep, that's the gate change. Yeah, we've talked about that, and I don't know what to make of it. How many in romantic relationships with transitioning furry would choose Chick-fil-A? God's chicken. With multiple options, how would someone who had a chance to take out a GOP figure eat there? They hate and profile. Says no. That's a good question. I don't know if Utah is the same. Maybe they don't hate God's chicken out there. Maybe he just likes God's chicken. He's willing to look past the politics. My IQ has been steadily increasing since I started following you in October. The last couple of weeks have been exponential IQ boosts. The best nights are barren nights. I like that. Thanks to you, Daisy and team, for what you do. Christ is king indeed. Thank you. I appreciate that. Very, very, very kind. Very kind. When you go back to the footage of him walking away from his car, you can see the same shadow movement that you see when he's standing above when the white car disappears in the distance. I don't know what that means. Turk makes most sense to be on phone. Yes, he said CPR, FaceTime with the kids, but he also changed into scrubs and something with Hibbs. Harpole said he was praying. I say Turk was on phone. Maybe Cutler not holding on to Harpole. you guys have given me something to think about with Turk, and maybe that's why he said he was on FaceTime, because he knew his phone records would show that. So this is interesting. Hey, are the prosecutors bringing in witnesses that they will, for the most part, not be able to use in trials, so all the inconsistencies can be ironed out and avoid impeachment? King, and thank you. No, because I think they have to have Bagley, and I think they have to have Hull and Davis. I don't think they can do a trial without them. So I don't think that's the idea there. Avalanche of Fed slop is meant to kill our minds and spirits. Truth will win. I need the fake friends of CK's to stop saying they were advising him. Charlie did not need advice from these idiots. Yeah. No fog lights or tag bracket. Yep, that's what we need to look into. I don't know how we can get better images, but I'm going to scour. Tyler, like my child has autism. Parents like myself have to train your child to put their full foot down and not walk on their toes. I know personally parents wrecked with guilt as their child need walking aids or worse. Oh, that's the first, if he had autism, that's the first time I'm hearing it. Just want to say my condolences again, sir. You're truly a strong man for being back so soon. I'll continue to pray for all of you. My apologies for showing up late. God bless. No apologies needed. You're welcome. And thank you for the kind words. Great job investigating. Thank you. I'm doing my best. Here. So Ben said he was at lunch the moment Charlie was shot with someone. Do we think it was with Andrew? That's a good question. Because he acted weird. He was like, I was at a meeting with someone. He did act weird about it. I was able to splice the new roof video, the pew on stage, and the cell video of guy on roof. Cell video finished 8 seconds before pew. If pew, everyone in that vid should have heard it loud and clear. I agree. Why didn't anyone on a security team have gun drawn? Did they know the threat was over? They were in the line of sight. It's a good question. I mean, you guys are all asking great questions, and they should be. That's why I'm surprised. I'm not surprised, probably, that didn't bring these people into the preliminary hearing. I watched yesterday's court hearings, and the FBI DNA analyst said it was 5 Twigs, 95 Robinson. Why wouldn't undisclose the truth? As far as what was said to the public, Diligent did the same thing on X Part 1. I don't know what you're saying. If you're saying I didn't say that, I did like a whole mea culpa here and showed you why I thought that. Does a joint or single lease exist or be submitted as exhibit with Lance Twig's name for same address? Family owned does not make someone a roommate, even if they are reported to be romantically involved. I'm not sure that it's been disputed, Dom, that he was a roommate. B, I refuse to watch pretrial and get upset for Jeff's family. I wait for your assessment every day of Charlie Kirk's case. You're doing God's work. Thank you. Prayers for you, your family, Daisy, High IQ Community Crisis King indeed. Thank you. Appreciate that. Baron, can Tyler hire different attorneys? Yeah, he had to pay for them. If so, can we raise money to hire them? You can't afford it. It would be millions of dollars at this point. This is a very expensive case. Are there hung juries? Is there anything we can do to help? There has to be something. Can 2 people be arrested for the same crime? Of course they can. Dad seems to believe the narrative. He thinks the prosecution is going to save the best for last, and apparently it will be what they need to convict. My dad believed in a deep state, yet he believes this narrative, so confused. I mean, people see things differently. It depends on how invested they are in investigating. Everyone should definitely go follow Liberty Lockdown, a phenomenal podcast. He did a great job. I agree with that. They picked AZ for the Charlie Kirk, Utah, you mean, for the Charlie Kirk event because of the court rules, hearsay, etc., perhaps and more. Soft rules. We love you. Hugs, M.I. Wonder Dog. Well, thank you. Tell Wonder Dog I said hi. Prayers for someone to be honest and step up and tell the truth. Keep doing what you're doing. Praying there's proof out there that TR turned himself in by 6:25 p.m. That's huge. Keep going, Max. Christ is king indeed. I think look, I'm open to him turning himself in later. However, nothing has dissuaded me from that to date, including today's testimony. Someone told me he turned himself in at 9. It's not compelling, especially when we're not allowed to watch the footage of him turning himself in. We're told it was deleted, and we're told you didn't ask for it. No. TR Car RT Scat Pack. Garage Wide Body Hellcat. Oh. I don't think they would have made that mistake, but I'll look at it. Edge, look forward to catching you, Clinton Buck, after this. Listen to trial today while power washing my hardscaping. Great job. Yes, always be productive while you're listening. It's better that way. Ivan, so proud of you and all you've accomplished. God bless you. Christ is King indeed. Thank you. I'm proud of you, Ivan. Proud of your comment and all your comment has accomplished. My brother's a cop. We live in Utah, 1 hour from UVU, about 3 hours after CK went down. My brother was on patrol and had the car model, color, and plate number. He told me Gray Challenger. Plate number disappeared shortly after. Oh, really? 3 hours after he went down, they had all that? Would your brother be willing to go on the record? Because that is news. If that's true, that's news. If your brother would be willing to go on the record and say on 9/10, and particularly if he has evidence of it, that would be huge. Ian knows on video, person limping, right leg lip. Yep. We've covered that. Thank you. Lizzie. Wow, Lizzie. Baron, your show tonight was phenomenal. I need to know more about suspicious bald guy and others in Challenger. Blake Neff seems guilty of something. Keep lighting them up with your fake facts and receipts. Well, two things. First, thank you. Very generous. Two, yes, he seems guilty, but I don't know it's guilty of a crime committed that day, although I can't rule it out at this point. He can't even tell us where he was before Charlie Kirk arrived. He didn't know what city he was in. Come on. And he was in Orem that night when the rest of his team was in Salt Lake City. Why? Why not? If you're going to stay, why not stay in Salt Lake City with everyone else? And why not fly back with them and save the cost of an extra private jet? Google searches. Wouldn't it be great if all prominent influencers kept a Google search recap showing on screen at all times? Keep this information on the surface every day. It's one of the most compelling finds. I tend to agree. We're going to do a recap at some point of all the early Google trend searches. But I think it's that important. I genuinely do. Sounds like the date of Twig's buccal swab was unknown and not necessarily on the same time frame as Tyler's swab. If not, how's the DNA testing performed on the 13th-ish? As stated by the FBI. Maybe I heard it wrong. I thought they said his swab was taken the night of the 11th. But I could be wrong. Light of the 11th, early morning of the 12th. But I could be wrong. I might have been mishearing that. When I stand before God at the end of my life, I would hope that I would not have a single bit of talent left, and I could say I used everything you gave me. I'm a Bombeck. Thank you, Baron, for sharing your gifts with us. Thank you. I appreciate that. I hope I can say the same. We're in the peak of high tech here in 2026, and not one picture or video is clear image. No frontal view in any capture. Christ is King with Charlie Kirk at the helm. Stay safe, B. Southern Illinois rooting for you and Candace. I'm rooting for truth. I'm just rooting for the truth, and I'm trying to find the truth, and that's why we're doing the show. I'm not rooting for a particular outcome. I'm rooting that we find out who killed Charlie Kirk, how, and why. And right now, I'm irritated by the Fed slop. Love Liberty Lockdown Chat. Thank you for your daily trial recaps. Grateful for your expertise and perspective on things. Praying for truth. Thank you. That's very kind. Bull butter and hot Cheetos, Baron. I left my honey pot in court to watch this. Keep up the good work. Golly. Why are there so many lawyers on YouTube saying the state's case is full of evidence? None of them are actually looking at the evidence. My fear is that's how the judge and jury will react. I don't know. I wish I knew. Just ordered my merch, B. Can't wait to rock it. Do you think they can possibly convict TR with this nonsense? It doesn't seem possible. What do we do if they do? How do we rise up? Christ is King indeed. I can't answer that last question. Do I think they can? Sure. Do I think it's their case is in trouble? Yes. Yes, I do. I think it's in grave danger. But you can't tell what a jury's going to do. And that's why so many people take deals, because their lawyers are honest with their clients and say, look, we got a very strong case, but you don't know what a jury's going to do. And they're offering you an easy way out here. Erica was born with blonde hair unless she's dyeing it since she was a kid. How can we forget her bull cut pics? I had towhead white hair till I was 14 years old. My very much not blonde wife had blonde hair until she was a teenager. So hair color changes. It darkens with time often. Court said, and my daughter, who has not blonde hair, had very white hair when she was young. Court says all those shooter moves, only 30-second prone to time up with what was between Kirk and person talking to him, who was the questioner. Very suspicious timing too. I have heard from some professionals that they would struggle to get that shot off in that time period. And these are pros. I mean, you're just lying down prone. You've got to sight it in. You got to find it. And then you got to, take your breath. And then he's moving. He's up. He's down. He's not a stationary target. So I'm not an attorney. Prosecution's case looks fake. Should this even go to trial? Is there a way for anyone to press charges against people connected to TPUSO for conspiracy to commit the M word? First ever super chat. Limbaugh legacy lives here. I think the judge will send it to trial just because there would be outrage because of all the professional commentary saying, "Oh, there's a mountain of evidence." So I think he'll send it to trial and just let him work it out there. But as far as charges against people for conspiracy, there's not enough evidence yet to charge anybody of that. But I don't think it's been investigated either. Yeah, this is a good point. Caught them saying the car matched license and registration description, so no plate verification. Yes, that's the way I took it. Hey, Baron, you missed my birthday yesterday. Thanks for all you do. We greatly appreciate it. Thankful for this amazing community. And happy birthday a day late, Tammy. I hope it's wonderful. Baron, a car driving around TPUSA members and Tyler Robinson the morning of the muck duck is more hurtful to the single transferee gunman than any fact uncovered over the past 10 months, in my opinion. But did anyone say there was a car driving around with TPUSA members and Tyler Robinson? All I heard was he met with TPUSA representatives on the quad. So, Baron under 702, which defense expert best gets the collar smoke, mic debris, and first frame movement for a jury? Video, ballistics, or medical? I would say video or ballistics more than medical. The mic debris, you're probably going to need video and probably someone who can testify that he knows what those things are. Hey, Baron, catching up on tonight's show. Not sure if someone commented already. The recording where he arrives at 8:30 when the girls walk out of frame on right. Sunlight jumps on the ground for a second. Did they cut? Yes. Yes. Yeah. They did. More slop. 30-6 doesn't do as described by medical examiners. Likely implies the examiner's compromise will be a gigantic hurdle to overcome in a jury trial. I believe this should have more focus. Yeah, and they're going to need an expert to point that out. Aloha, Baron. Tyler Robinson, number 2, paused and acknowledged a white car before walking upstairs. He looked back and then touches an earpiece. When he walks out, the leg now bends. Did he touch an earpiece or did he just adjust his hair? Did you see an earpiece? So if I pull this back up and he just touched his hair, I'm going to be frustrated. I kid. Let's see here. Acknowledged a white car before walking up the stairs. I'll see if I can find it. Did he touch his ear before walking up the stairs? Looks back and touches an earpiece. Oh, that's downstairs. Where are we going upstairs? Oh, please. Oh, there we go. Upstairs. Okay, so here, I'll let you guys watch along with me. Turns the corner. I didn't even see him. Oh, there was a little jump there too. I never caught that before. What was that about? Here, let's watch this one together. If for no other reason than the jump. I didn't see him touch the earpiece, so I have no idea what you're talking about, and I don't want to keep looking, but watch this little jump. Tyler's here. I'll back it up a little bit. Watch when he turns the corner. When he's about in between this pillar and the wall, watch the cut. You'll see it jump cut. Did you see it? What was that about? Oh, I didn't go back far enough. Watch this. There's a little jump cut there. That's weird. Again, why are we doing this with evidence? What would be the purpose of that? Why would you introduce a cut there? Or why wouldn't you at least acknowledge it and say, oh, here's where we had a little cloud malfunction? Fred Freeman has been in prison for 37 years. He's innocent. I believe you. I believe you. I have missed something. The disappearing white car in edited videos, the same car that stopped to say something in the parking lot. The guy who jumped off the roof. Why they edited the 111 out. It's the same car. It certainly looks similar. I don't know if it's the same. You said the same thing twice, but thank you. Thank you. Baron, it's my birthday, and you saw a bad crooked letter, crooked letter. That is all. Thank you. Well, thank you. Busy making him a sandwich. I see you read the book. Baron, you can see in the garage shot where you were reviewing the license plate that the head scoops also disappeared and made the hood flat. What? You guys are catching everything. Let me go back and look again. Head scoops disappeared and made the hood flat. All right, here he comes. We'll watch together. Head scoops disappeared and made the hood flat. I don't see any head scoop disappear. This is why I got to double check everything. Spend my whole day double checking everything. Front size of camera names are different for Gene Guy versus red shirt videos from same camera. Larger for red shirt videos, but timestamps are the same size on all. Praying for truth will one day be revealed. Oh, font size for camera. I'll have to look at all this stuff. I don't have time to look at all of it tonight. Dash cam of the police car that pulled over the car in which the occupants said they were FBI. How ironic if it happened to be the car edited out and that car stopped the area where the guy jumped off roof. That would be ironic. Would be ironic indeed. Canuck Bucks. B, thoughts on Mrs. Nestor's performance so far? Day one in cross-exam, the cop on stand refers to learning about Tyler at jail. It was the first time someone took responsibility. No, he didn't. And crickets from Miss Nestor. I don't remember him saying that. I think they've done a pretty good job, the defense. I mean, everybody would do it differently, but I think they've done a pretty good job. When you go to trial, do you present the inconsistencies with the evidence and let the jury draw the conclusion to cover up, or do you leave with the cover up throughout the trial? I don't know what that means. I mean, I think if there's obvious inconsistencies in your evidence, you want to get that out on direct so that it doesn't look like you're hiding anything. That looks devastating. I made my cousin Vinny ref that went over your head last time, all forgiven in light of the fact that you've made a Spaceballs and Monty Python reference in the past. Okay. All forgiven. I didn't catch it. Amber. Hola, Baron, new member from Australia. Please check neck, hairline, and sideburns. Different guy. God bless you, family, and your audience. All this is good. We will do this. We will check all of this. Baron, why didn't he go up the stairs right away in limping video? Looks like he acknowledges something. Does weird sign by ear, goes up and stops when car is behind him, and he does weird ear thing. I'm going to have to look at that. I'm going to have to find that and look at it because I don't know which one you're talking about. Hello, Baron. I am in your neck of the woods today visiting from Chicago. The people from Chicago say Chicago weird. They're like, Chicago. I love it down here. Catching up with your show today while rocking my new Go Max t-shirt. Thank you for all you do. Christ is King indeed. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for all of you do. I know I was not able to get to all the comments, but you can see we're almost at 4 hours. So I did have to get a little selective today, and I apologize. I do read them all. It'll take me probably an hour after the show to go through and read them all, but it would take me like 2 or 3 hours to go through and react to all of them. So I appreciate it. I genuinely appreciate your support. I appreciate you chiming in, being a part of the community here. It's a great community. I learned that in an especially personal way last night because I saw genuine tears. Like I saw Jeff's mother cry when she talked to me about this community. She said, you guys, I didn't even know it existed. And they didn't know me and they didn't know Jeff. And they just poured out love on our family. And I want to thank you for that. Thank you for all your prayers, all your thoughts, all your generosity towards the Armstrong family. It was an amazing, amazing thing to watch and witness. And I heard it over and over and over from people last night. So thank you. I genuinely thank you. Thank you. Genuinely thank you. If you've enjoyed the show, please like, subscribe. If you have hated the show, watch it again. Maybe you misunderstood it. That's the only thing I can think of. If you rage watched because you hate me before you showed up, that's fine. That's fine. I appreciate that as well. Every view counts. But I will be back tomorrow. We'll do another recap tomorrow of the fake and gay slop they're going to dish out, the pictures of the screen caps and the recordings of Lance Troy's going, We'll talk about all that and more. We'll do a member show Friday. So if you are one of these people that got gifted a new membership today, go back and watch the old member content. But you'll be able to tune in live for the member show Friday. I don't yet know what that will look like because the hearing will be going on in all likelihood. So I don't know whether we'll try to cover that. We'll get creative. We'll have fun one way or the other. But in the meantime, no matter what we're doing, no matter what day it is, no matter where you are, Jesus loves you. He loves you a lot. And there's nothing you can do to stop it. Nothing. Have a wonderful night, everybody. And we will see you mañana.